Chapter 521, Stealing Shoes, February 2nd. The slaves were old while Fei Kai was acting like a crazed man. For the moment, the slaves could only surround Fei Kai without daring to go forward. Fei Kai stared with wide, furious eyes as he kicked an old slave in front of him. "Filthy bastard, I am going to pay respects to young tribe leader, don't block my way." The old slaves felt ashamed and furious, sinister glint flashed past their eyes, but they still did not dare to go forward. They had already noticed a bulge in Fei Kai's clothes. Many sneered in disdain in their hearts, "This stupid kid really has the courage to steal. It doesn't matter if he stole shoes, but he actually stole the young tribe leader's shoes, ha ha ha, his luck is truly bad. I originally wanted him to be relocated to cleaning the latrine, but now this kid might even lose his little life. Serves him right. Is it so easy to become young tribe leader's personal servant?" Fei Kai walked towards young tribe leader's tent while being surrounded by the old slaves. The two Gu masters guarding the tent saw Fei Kai and looked at him as if he was a dead person. Xianxia stood at the entrance of the tent with a solemn expression. He had been tired of handling the various affairs and wanted to take a walk outside, but he found that his shoes had disappeared. He called for his old personal servant, and the old slave told him the shoes were very possibly stolen by the new young slave to possibly sell them for money. The old slave also informed Xianxia that this was not the first time Fei Kai had stolen. Xianxia was naturally furious. He had never expected that his kindness would bring in a thief. Fei Kai was extremely anxious with panic already filling his mind, but he firmly remembered Zhao Lianyun's instructions, and walked towards Xianxia with his head high like a valiant hero. Xianxia was secretly amazed at this sight. Those old slaves that were following Fei Kai to keep an eye on him, instead looked like they were escorting him. More importantly, Fei Kai did not appear panicked. Was it not him who stole the shoes? Unwittingly, the fury in Xianxia was replaced by curiosity and doubts. Subordinate greets young tribe leader. Fei Kai kneeled on the ground and greeted with a clear voice. Xianxia looked at Fei Kai and shouted in a displeased voice, "My shoes, did you steal them?" "I would never dare to steal Lord's shoes even if I had 100 guts." Fei Kai denied flatly. "He is lying, his clothes are bulging, he has something there, we will know once we look at it." The old slaves immediately shouted from behind. Fei Kai snorted and opened his shirt, revealing a ball of snowy white, high-grade silk. He carefully took out the silk and opened it, revealing the shoes inside. Xianxia looked at this pair of shoes and knew it was the pair which he wore, and he couldn't help but coldly smiled. Great, great, the proof is here, a thief having such confidence is really hard to come by. I implore young tribe leader to investigate clearly." Fei Kai did not refute and placed the shoes on the ground respectfully. He then placed his forehead on the ground like he was willing to take on any punishment. "Lord young tribe leader, there is clear evidence, please punish this vile bastard fiercely." Yes, he actually dared to steal young tribe leader's shoes. He might steal many more things later on. He is such a thief, we should just cut off his hands. The old slaves continued to speak extremely sinister words. Fei Kai's heart trembled, but remembering Zhao Lianyun's words, he did not retort. This scene caused Xianxia to be somewhat interested. Killing a slave was nothing, but Xianxia had always praised himself as wise and benevolent, to restrict himself so that when he took over the tribe in the future, he could become a wise ruler of the generation. Especially now that Ma tribe had become the head of a huge army, their every move was being paid attention to by others. Rashly killing a slave just because of a small matter like stealing shoes, would it not be spread as brutal? Xianxia had such misgivings in his heart. A good reputation was easy to build but difficult to maintain. Thereupon, he asked, I have always dealt with things fairly. Fei Kai, I will give you a chance to explain yourself. Fei Kai immediately let out a breath of relief. He had been waiting for these words just like Zhao Lianyun instructed him. This gave him a huge confidence and he decided he would reply exactly according to Zhao Lianyun's instructions. My father died because of the internal strife in the tribe, so young tribe leader obliterating Fei tribe can be said to have taken revenge for me. Young tribe leader is so wise and benevolent, how could I do a thing like returning benevolence with enmity? When Xianxia heard the words, wise and benevolent, his mood immediately took a turn for the better as he asked in a gentle voice, then do you have some ulterior motives? Fei Kai, however, shook his head, no ulterior motives, it is just that I wanted to repay young tribe leader. But what can I do? I am only a mortal, I have no ways to break through the enemy defense lines for young tribe leader. I am very stupid, I cannot bring forward any plans to young tribe leader. I am only your personal servant who can only clean shoes and place them properly. I thought in young tribe leader's place, these shoes have been put outside for so long that young tribe leader's feet might become cold when you wear them, right? So I used all my savings to buy this real silk to cover young tribe leader's shoes and held it in my clothes. With this, young tribe leader won't feel cold when you wear them. So it was like that. Xianxia was greatly surprised. He was obsessed with cleanliness and if Fei Kai had directly held the shoes in his clothes, he would instead be disgusted. But covering the shoes with silk was different. Moreover, this was a genuine high-grade silk. There should not be anyone who used such materials to cover shoes, right? This Fei Kai is really a good servant, he is actually so considerate. Xianxia's thoughts moved and the gaze he looked at Fei Kai quietly changed. If what Fei Kai said was true, his devotion was really overwhelming. At this moment, Fei Kai suddenly kowtowed, young tribe leader, I have sinned. What sin have you committed? Xianxia looked at Fei Kai with a clear smile on his face. Fei Kai replied, I only thought of keeping the shoes warm for young tribe leader, but forgot it would be extremely inconvenient for you when you go out. I have sinned, please punish me. Xianxia heaved a sigh, it is not like I only have one pair of shoes, but because I saw that the pair I usually wore had disappeared, I called you over. It is fortunate, I nearly blamed my loyal servant. Lord Young Tribe Leader, don't listen to his words. Lord Young Tribe Leader, this kid is deceiving you, he is very crafty and is lying to you. The old slaves experienced a reversal of fortune when they saw the normally stupid Fei Kai speak with such a glib tongue, and thus they began to hurriedly shout. Fei Kai spoke again at this moment, Young Tribe Leader, please inspect clearly. There is indeed a matter of stealing shoes, but I have never done it. Instead, it was these old slaves who did it many times. After I was appointed to this post, these old slaves incited me many times, but I never listened, thus they resent me. I am not afraid of being investigated and also not afraid of punishment. I earnestly request young tribe leader to investigate clearly and give me justice. Fei Kai was naturally not afraid of investigation as this was the first time he had stolen shoes. He had heard the old slaves carelessly speaking that a pair of the finest shoes could sell for a high price. Fei Kai was ignorant, he had followed the young tribe leader for so long but had not paid attention to the look of the shoes young tribe leader wore, and thus was easily plotted against by the old slaves. Fortunately, he met a crucial person during the crucial time. Zhao Lianyun became his savior, and under her instructions, Fei Kai made a comeback and averted danger. When the old slaves heard the request for investigation, their face turned as pale as paper. Gu masters had plenty of methods and could easily get to the bottom of this trivial affair. These old slaves were already regretting their actions, never having expected for them to be the ones landing in deep trouble. Xianxia noticed the change in the expressions of the old slaves, and became 70–80% convinced in Fei Kai. But since his resolve was to become a wise ruler, he naturally could not rashly decide based on his thoughts. Immediately, he summoned an investigative Gu master and commanded him to get to the bottom of this affair. Receiving Ma Yingjia's personal order, the investigative Gu master investigated enthusiastically. In only 5 minutes of time, the truth of the matter was brought to light. As the facts were disclosed, the old slaves kneeled on the ground and began weeping and howling with their bodies trembling in fear, asking the young tribe leader to forgive them. Ma Yingjia snorted, "Fawning upon your superiors and bullying your subordinates, you slaves actually dared to deceive me. You should all be put to death, but considering the many years you have served me, and that some of you even having served me since I was a child and also served my subordinates, I will forgive your cheap lives and send you to the supply camp to serve my army. Clean the feces and latrine. Thank you, young tribe leader, for showing mercy." The old slaves kowtowed like they were pounding garlic, extremely thankful for this. "As for you," Ma Yingjia looked at Fei Kai and smiled playfully, "you dared to steal my shoes, you truly are extremely daring. From now on, you shall be punished to be the head of the slaves and redeem yourself by serving me properly." Fei Kai was stumped for a long time before he came to his senses. Ma Yingjia's punishment was actually a promotion. He immediately kowtowed and expressed his thanks. Ma Yingjia laughed heartily and waved his hand, "All right, now get lost, think properly on the ways to serve me." "Yes, my lord." Fei Kai left with a dazed expression the whole way. Only after a long while did he become clear. He had profited from the disaster and became the head of the slaves. "This is all thanks to Lady Xiao Yun." "Ah, right, Lady Xiao Yun told me to report to her quickly if everything went all right." Fei Kai shook his head and promptly changed direction towards the secret place. "What, you actually became the head of the slaves?" Zhao Lianyun's eyes involuntarily widened when she heard this news, and looked at Fei Kai with surprise. Her plan might have been ingenious but also carried risks in that it depended completely on Ma Yingjia's mood. If Ma Yingjia was in a bad mood, he would only need to issue a death command and Fei Kai would be done for. But clearly, this big dummy was quite lucky, and not only were there no accidents, he even got appointed as the head of the slaves. Chapter 522, Rank 5 Amplify Effect Gu. Although servants were servants, the one tasked to take care of my tribe's young tribe leader was definitely a crucial person that was closely related to the tribe in many ways. Having such a role, if the low-rank Gu masters want to find out information about the higher-ups, they would need to go through the servant leader. What a huge profit, he became the servant leader. I am truly a genius. Zhao Lianyun laughed furiously in her heart. She did not waste her efforts after all. She stared at Fei Kai with shining eyes, saying gently, "Big dummy, after you become the servant leader, you have to work hard." Fei Kai shuddered at once, replying truthfully, "Lady Xiao Yun, I don't know why, but that tone of yours made me really nervous." Zhao Lianyun immediately changed her expression, kicking Fei Kai's leg as she screamed, "You idiot, now that you are the servant leader, your situation is more precarious than before. I wonder how many people will target you, and among them, there might even be vile and evil Gu masters." Fei Kai was shocked. "Then what should I do?" "Humph, you're lucky to have a friend like me. As long as you listen to what I say, I assure you, you will live blissfully." Zhao Lianyun stretched out her hand, wanting to pat Fei Kai's shoulders, but found out that she was too short. She immediately opened her mouth. "Quick, squat down now." Fei Kai squatted down obediently, and Zhao Lianyun succeeded in patting his shoulder. She nodded her tiny head in satisfaction, speaking in an old and experienced tone, "Do you know what to do next?" Fei Kai naturally shook his head. "Humph, you idiot." Zhao Lianyun snorted, "Since you are the servant leader now, and those old servants have already been sent away, you have to recruit new subordinates first. Otherwise, how can you handle everything alone?" "Oh. You are extremely right. Fei Kai realized at once, nodding in agreement. Zhao Lianyun snorted again, but just this is not enough. You need to learn about the young tribe leaders' likes, dislikes, and lifestyle habits. You have to ask those old servants for these information. What? Ask them. Will they tell me? Fei Kai stared with wide-opened eyes. Zhao Lianyun snickered, you are now the servant leader, your status is different already. They are the lowest of slaves, I'm sure they are afraid of you taking revenge now. If you ask them, they are sure to tell you everything. Of course, if they do not know what is good for them, I have my ways of making them spill everything obediently. Oh. Zhao Lianyun looked at Fei Kai's blank expression and rolled her eyes uncontrollably. Her thoughts had already drifted far away. I am not a person of this world, there are simply too many ways to make these stinking men talk. As long as we learn about Ma Yingjia's habits and please him accordingly, Fei Kai's current position would definitely be stable. Hee hee. Chao Fu, He Tribe Camp. All sorts of tents and gu houses covered the wide grassland. As tribe flags fluttered in the wind, large numbers of gu masters entered and exited. If one looked from above, they would resemble a nest of ants. In the supply camp, Fang Yuan held the east window gu as he checked the resources silently. The female gu master in charge of attending to him stayed focused as she stood at one side, waiting for Fang Yuan to make his decision at any moment. Ever since they received Dongfang tribe's reparations, the resources that could be exchanged for using battle merits had increased by more than 10 times. Of course, among these resources, not all of them were the compensation from war. Other than He tribe's previous accumulation, there were also the resources offered by tribes who surrendered and joined the He tribe alliance army. Just a few days ago, He Lulan organized another alliance meeting, and ordered the newly joined tribe leaders to make the poison vow. To prevent the good things from being exchanged by others, once the resources were collated, Fang Yuan entered the supply camp at once. Even Shadow Sword Expert and others, after they joined He tribe army, could not affect Fang Yuan's status of being second to only He Lulan. Fang Yuan had such authority, the others definitely had issues with it, but no one dared to reprimand him in public. Oh. There's a rank 4 self-reliance gu. Fang Yuan's heart was moved. Among these resources, he found the gu that he had greatly desired. Self-reliance gu was rather precious. Fang Yuan had a rank 3 version of it in southern border, but after coming to northern plains, it was suppressed to rank 2. Fang Yuan did not have the relevant gu recipe, he could not advance it further. Earlier, he had found a self-reliance gu in He tribe's resources, but it was rank 2. Without a choice, he planned to collect the gu recipe and use these 2 gu as the foundation to refine the higher rank gu. But this way, it would take eons for him to get a high-rank self-reliance gu. If his luck was bad and he failed the refinement several times, the duration would be prolonged further. Now, he found this rank 4 self-reliance gu. Without doubt, he had to get it. Other than rank 4 self-reliance gu, he also found the rank 4 charging crash gu. But he had already bought the rank 3 vertical charge and horizontal crash gu earlier, and had succeeded in refining them into a rank 4 charging crash gu. Diverting his attention from charging crash gu, Fang Yuan found several good things, especially Dongfang tribe's unique gu worms. Even with his 500 years of experience, Fang Yuan was still very interested upon seeing these things. What attracted him the most was the refined essence spirit gu. If it was categorized, this should be a healing gu worm. Refined essence spirit gu could convert the essence of a gu master's physical flesh into a mysterious form of energy that could nurture and heal the soul. There were many gu worms that could heal the soul, but this refined essence spirit gu was far superior to its peers. Dongfang Yuliang had such a gu worm, and it was a huge support to his wisdom path deductions. As for Fang Yuan, this Gu suited him even more. Different from Dong Fang Yu Liang, Fang Yuan was a dual enslavement and strength path cultivator. His body was strong and his mind was sharp, his soul often felt weakness and exhaustion from commanding the beast groups. The refined essence spirit Gu could be the perfect bridge between his two paths. Among the resources, other than refined essence spirit Gu, there was also the recipe for it. Fang Yuan took them all. According to rumors, this Gu recipe was especially created by Dongfang tribe's Gu immortal Dongfang Chang Fan in order to cultivate wisdom path. This meant that Dongfang tribe had much greater attainments in wisdom path than others. After Fang Yuan obtains this recipe, as well as the refined essence spirit Gu, it would be the same as obtaining Dongfang tribe's experimental results for himself. Gu worms only need one thought from the Gu master to self-detonate. If this was during normal times, it would not be so easy for Fang Yuan to obtain refined essence spirit Gu. The imperial court competition every 10 years was not only a purification and refinement process to weed out the weak, it also assisted in the interactions between all the large forces. The way of Gu originated from the immemorial antiquity era, and Ren Zhu was the first Gu master who used Gu worms. After that, there was the remote antiquity era, olden antiquity era, medieval antiquity era, followed by the late antiquity era. Until today, the way of Gu prospered, in fact it was blooming all over the world. Countless paths were created from all the eras like ripples in the river of time, numerous paths flourished at times while vanishing at others. But because of the harsh living environment, the concept of trading was not very popular with people. All the large forces liked to do their own research and treasured their findings, keeping it from others. Back then, one of the invincible venerables, Giant Sun, felt this and set up this huge arena. Because of the battle reparations, the Huangjin family could pass on their learning throughout the ages, grasping the overlord position of northern plains throughout history without declining. After countless imperial court battles, Northern Plains became the publicly acclaimed strongest region out of the 5 in terms of fighting strength. But if we look at total power, Central Continent is the strongest, followed by Northern Plains. Fang Yuan had his previous life's memories, he understood clearly the strength of the 5 regions. During the Battle of the 5 Regions, Northern Plains was the region which resisted Central Continent most fiercely. The other 3 regions, although having the same terrain advantage as Northern Plains, were suppressed fiercely by Central Continent. Only Northern Plains managed to organize troops to fight back, invading Central Continent in return. Northern Plains has such great strength all thanks to Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's setup. Because he used battles and war, while restricting it to a certain level, it allowed Northern Plains to hone the greatest fighting strength. Unfortunately, his plans were still too restricted, he only cared about his bloodline's benefits. In contrast, Central Continent was strong due to their systemic reforms, it was an advantage that stemmed from their core. Fang Yuan came from Earth, he had a unique perspective, together with his 500 years of experience, he had a clear understanding towards the true nature of society. There are over a dozen amplify effect Gu. Fang Yuan collected his scattered thoughts as he continued looking at the list, finding a new surprise. Amplify effect Gu was from the rule path, it was used to supplement other Gu worms, to amplify the effects of the chosen Gu worm. As for the amplification level, it would depend on the rank of the amplify effect Gu. The higher the rank, the greater the effect. Of course, the drawback was that the Gu master's primeval essence expenditure would be relatively higher. Amplify effect Gu was very popular among Gu masters, because it could be used in any path. Fire path Gu masters could use it, water path Gu masters could use it, and for Fang Yuan, both his enslavement and strength paths could use amplify effect Gu. Among He tribe's resources, there was only one rank 5 amplify effect Gu. There were also one rank 4, 3 rank 3, and the rest of the amplify effect Gu were rank 2. Fang Yuan had to pick the best one. He chose the rank 5 Amplify Effect Gu. It would boost the effectiveness of a Gu worm by 5 times. But this way, a new problem occurred. Lord Wolf King, you want to take so many Gu, your battle merits might not be enough. The female Gu master in charge reminded him as she chose her words carefully. Ah, I know. After all, one of the rank 5 Gu is Amplify Effect Gu. That Refine Essence Spirit Gu is also Dong Fong Tribe Specialty Gu Worm. Fang Yuan's words were very understanding and accommodating. But his next sentence was not like this. Never mind if I do not have enough battle merits, just credit another 500,000. Ah. The female Gu master was shocked. She carefully said, Lord, you still owe around 300,000 of the previous 500,000 battle merits you borrowed. According to the rules, you have to pay them first before borrowing again. Fang Yuan raised his brows, saying nonchalantly, so what, rules are made by men, since they can be made, they can be altered. I'll borrow another 500,000, no, 800,000. I will explain to He Lu Lan personally, now give me the goods. Chapter 523, Tai by Yun Sheng. The weather was gradually starting to get cold and gales started blowing over the grassland, causing the beast groups to become fretful. The aura of the 10-year blizzard was already manifesting. And in the majestic northern plains, heroes were rising and vying for supremacy, causing the flames of war to burn everywhere. Mirror Lake. Ma tribe and Song tribe had officially started their battle. Both of them had erected 3 to 4 defense lines before starting this confrontation. In Ma tribe's main tent, Ma tribe leader Ma Shangfeng was in the main seat looking with a heavy gaze at Song tribe's dense battle formation that was surging battle intent. Ma tribe's military force was stronger than theirs, but it would not be easy getting the victory. Lord Alliance leader, please send me out to challenge enemy general and raise our army's prestige. Alliance leader, Fei Xing requests to be sent to battle. The first battle belongs to me, no one shall compete with me. Gu masters were very impatient and eager as they requested to be sent to battle one after another. Ma Shangfeng looked around him before hesitating at Fei Xing and Cheng Hu. The two were both rank 4 Gu masters. Fei Xing cultivated Wood Path and had been taken in by Ma tribe after they annexed Fei tribe. Cheng Hu cultivation transformation path and came from Qing tribe. Qing tribe was subjugated by Ma tribe during Heroes Assembly and was now the second most influential force in Ma tribe army. Ma Shangfeng pondered and then smiled towards Cheng Hu. Cheng Hu, you shall go first and stimulate my army's morale. Cheng Hu was overjoyed as he hurriedly bowed and rushed towards the front line. Ha, I am Cheng Hu, who dares to approach their death? Cheng Hu challenged loudly. Arrogant. Let me Su Yi teach you a lesson. A rank 4 expert flew out of Song tribe army. Cheng Hu did not say anything else but directly pounced towards the other person. Bam bam bam. The two were incomparably valiant and attacked with grand momentum. For a moment, the stronger and the weaker side could not be determined. The two continued to exchange moves, sending rocks, grass and mud flying around in their battle ring. The two armies concentrated on the battle with all their attention. Lower-ranked Gu masters felt their hearts shaking, while the upper-ranked Gu master experts were fired up. Northern Plains was filled with many brave heroes and the blood of warriors permeated the bones of their Gu master. Alliance leader, Fei Xing requests to be sent to battle. Fei Xing shouted with a fierce glint in his eyes. He was a newly subjugated person and was filled with enthusiasm to show his loyalty. Ma Shangfeng nodded with a smile. Fei Xing went to the battlefield and Song tribe army also sent their expert to battle him. The two had just exchanged 3 moves when at the other battle ring, Cheng Hu suddenly roared, his whole body giving off dazzling orange light. After the orange light dispersed, he had unexpectedly transformed into a striped tiger king, the size of an elephant. Chenghu was a transformation path Gu master and could change parts of his body into a tiger tail, tiger claws, tiger skin and so on. The complete transformation was a killer move. This was also the superiority of transformation path. Every transformation path Gu master possessed at least one killer move as long as they collected the respective Gu worms. Su Yi turned pale with fright and started to retreat in panic. The Tiger King pounced on him. Su Yi frantically activated his movement Gu and narrowly dodged this attack. The Tiger King swung his tail without turning around. The tail lashed through the air like a steel whip, producing an explosive sound through the air. Su Yi quickly activated his defense Gu, which created a light barrier over his whole body. But the tiger whip was very powerful, and as it fell on the light barrier, the barrier was broken in an instant. The defense Gu died and Su Yi spurted out a large mouthful of blood due to the backlash. He hurriedly tried to retreat, but it was too late. An intense bloody wind pounced on his face, and the next moment he only saw a huge tiger mouth shrouding over his head. Crack! The Tiger King directly bit apart Su Yi's head. Chenghu won, obtaining the first victory for Ma tribe. Song tribe's higher-ups were slightly moved while Ma tribe's troops rejoiced. Victory! A great start means half the success. Today, my army will definitely win. In the main tent, Ma Yingjie clenched his fists, an extraordinary light flashing past his eyes as his spirits roused to the limit. And on another battlefield. In the vast battlefield, one side was shouting in high spirits with their banners fluttering grandly in the air. While the other side's army formation was shaking, their morale low and was already showing signs of defeat. Alliance leader Luo, the enemy's momentum is too fierce, we can't hold them back. We need to retreat. A commander needs to be able to judge the situation properly. Right now, Lu tribe's experts are like tigers, our army truly cannot match them. The several higher-ranked Gu masters shouted hurriedly, all of them panicked. Luo Bojun looked around him and smiled bitterly, retreat? Tell me, where can we still retreat to? This is already our last defense line. Sigh, forget it, since the battle with Lu Wenwu started, which of our defense lines could hold for more than 3 days? They are way too strong, we might as well surrender. In the first battle, Luo Bojun was heavily injured by Lu Wenwu, Mo Shikuang and others, he had yet to recover from it. These days, Luo tribe army kept on being defeated again and again, no matter how much efforts he made, he was unable to reverse the situation. Now, as he completely realized the enormous gap between the two sides, he became disheartened and had already lost any intent to battle. The higher-ranked Gu masters let out a sigh of relief at this. Because of poison vow, they could not easily say it, but since Luo Bojun himself mentioned surrendering, there was no problem. The command to surrender was quickly spread and the battle also soon calmed down. Ha ha ha, didn't I say it, as long as we 3 brothers join hands, we can rule the world. Mo Shikuang laughed heartily, extremely proud of himself. Lu Wenwu also laughed, his heart filled with huge joy. Lu Tribe Alliance had won their first battle. Now, they would annex the enemy army, take in the captives and increase their strength before continuing forward. Mengqiu. The leopard group hissed and growled as they fought a bloody battle with rat group. The great army of Gu masters of the both sides instead became a background. New Heir too held his hands behind his back with his head high, mutated leopards moved beside him, showing their dignity and prestige. By contrast, his opponent Jiang Baoya, who was publicly proclaimed as one of the enslavement path masters of Northern Plains, was sweating greatly and was as pale as paper. Jiang Baoya, you have already lost. Do you know how you lost? Your rat group scale is too large, reaching 650,000 in numbers. Troops are valued for their quality, not for their numbers. It is the same with beast groups as well. Now, quietly become a stepping stone for my name to spread in Northern Plains. New Air too lightly spoke, but his tranquil voice resounded within everyone's ears. No, I haven't lost yet, I still have my trump card. Jiang Baoye let out a hysterical shout, I will let you gain a first-hand experience in my enslavement path killer move which I have never displayed before, rat epidemic. The moment he finished speaking, hundreds of thousands of rats self-destructed at the same time. The leopard group suffered disastrous casualties in this chain explosion. The ground slightly shook, turfs were flipped over, soil and stones splattered everywhere, and huge amount of yellow poison gas started appearing. The surviving leopard group was covered by this poison gas, immediately becoming sickly with their movement slowed down, their battle strength had sharply fallen. By contrast, Jiang Baoye's rat group moved around in this yellow poison gas without being affected. Ha ha ha, the final winner is me, Jiang Baoye. Young man, you want to step on my position, keep on training for 500 years more. Jiang Baoye howled with laughter. Humph. I had intended to keep on hiding it, but since you want to die, don't blame me. New Air too snorted, a sinister smile appearing on his face. He suddenly shouted, killer move, leopard dash. Howl. Leopard group howled and unfolded an unmatchable mad charge. This? Jiang Baoye's eyes opened wide, the leopard group's battle strength had surged by over 2 times, furthermore their speed increased by an astonishing 8 times. Under everyone's dumbfounded look, the leopard group quickly charged out of the area covered by the yellow poison gas and breathed in fresh air, before charging forward like a terrifying tsunami, swallowing and engulfing everything. Du Jiao. A large battlefield had already ended. Fire blazed towards the sky, the whole battlefield covered by raging inferno. A Gu master stood loftily in the inferno like a fire deity. He played with the fire in his hand, changing it into all kinds of shapes as he looked at the surrounding Gu masters with his narrow eyes and spoke, his voice appearing extremely cruel and cold in the blazing inferno, it is your honor to be defeated by my supreme fire path. Surrender, otherwise, all of you and this lowly grass shall turn into ashes. The surrounding Gu masters looked dejectedly at each other. After few breaths of time, they kneeled one after another. We surrender. After He tribe obtained the first victory against Dongfang tribe, the curtains to many large battles, that had started over northern plains, also fell one after another. The defeated did not lose everything, some surrendered and some ran away choosing to side with another force. This was only the initial stage of the struggle for imperial court, they still had hope and chance. The winners swallowed the weak, obtaining huge amounts of war reparations and expanding themselves. The countless corpses of beast groups, Gu masters and ordinary mortals instead became nourishments for the grassland, and in the future would sink down under the snowy land, doomed for eternity. Winner takes all. After resting and reorganizing for over 10 days at Chaofu, He Lulan finished absorbing the captives, expanding his military strength by 60% and resumed the expedition. This time, his target was Guanxi. The Gu tribe one army stationed there had weak military strength and thus became the optimum target for He Lulan to expand his force. 7 days later, He tribe army confronted Gu tribe army. Gu tribe suffered a huge defeat at the first battle. Gu tribe alliance leader Gu Guolong resolutely gave the order to abandon their 3 defense lines without using them and retreated to their tribe's main camp. He Lulan laughed heartily as he led his army with a crushing momentum. But at the final battlefield, he was dumbstruck and asked his subordinates, "How is there a mountain here?" Gu tribe army might be weak but they had their own ways. They built up a mountain by piling stones and garrisoned on the mountain, with countless traps set around the foot of the mountain. They occupied the high ground, having huge geographical advantage. Their intention to defend to the death was abundantly clear. He tribe army attacked several times but were defeated every time, leaving behind large numbers of corpses. Fang Yuan looked at the battlefield with indifference and did not use his full strength in mobilizing the wolf group, only doing it to show he was putting some effort. Adding in that there were many trees and undergrowth on the mountain, the wolf group could not show their strength properly and were instead separated and killed. Thus, the battle situation might be progressing, but it was very slow. Above all, Gu tribe army was still continuing to add in stones to the mountain, making this mountain become taller and taller. He Lulan was furious. Gu Guolong is as obstinate as the rumor said. After I win, I will definitely step on him to death. However, the situation was still not optimistic. Just the rocks dropped by mere mortals possessed the strength of a rank 1 Gu when dropped from such a height. If I had known this earlier, I would not have come here to chew on such a hard bone. He Lulan had the intent to retreat, but right at this time, a person walked out of the camp. This person held a letter as he came in front of He Lulan. This old man Tai Bai Yun Xing received benefactor's letter and came to lend you a hand. He Lulan was joyous as he grabbed this person's hands. With old sir helping us, we can definitely succeed. Chapter 524, Number 1 in Prestige and Merit. Tai Bai Yun Sheng was tall with a strangely ancient appearance. The hair near his temples had turned white and his face was filled with deep wrinkles. He was already over 80, but his eyes were not dim and blurred, instead had a gentle look that seemed to pity the fate of mankind along with a calmness that had seen through the secular world. Since he was 7, he had been determined to travel the northern plains to help common people. This essence is securely nested within the heart of Novurolssgen. His life was full of turmoil, as he was frequently toyed by fate. He became an enslaved Gu master after his tribe was annihilated, then he was betrayed by his wife and became a captive of variant men. Then in a fortuitous encounter, he obtained a time path Gu immortal's inheritance and was rescued by his brothers when he was at the verge of death. Now, he had already become a living legend. Although he was a loner, he was publicly accepted as a great righteous path Gu master. His benevolence reputation had entered the depths of northern plains people, the level of his prestige far surpassing people like Chang Shanyin, He Lulan and Lu Wenwu. Right as He Lulan was at his wit's end considering the battle situation and had the thought of retreating, Tai Bai Yun Xing came to the camp by himself, holding a letter in his hand. He Lulan read the letter and immediately realized the reason. Back then, He tribe's supreme elder He Bai took a fancy to Tai Bai Yun Xing, guiding and rescuing him many times. Now that He tribe army had fallen into a predicament, He Bai, who had been secretly observing all along, sent a letter to Tai Bai Yun Xing to provide assistance. He Lulan knew the ability of Tai Bai Yun Xing and was thus overjoyed. He arranged a banquet that night to serve Tai Bai Yun Xing. On the second day, the sky had just become bright. He Lulan impatiently arranged his army formation and requested Tai Bai Yun Xing to make his move. Under everyone's expectant gaze, Tai Bai Yun Xing slowly walked to the front and looked at the tall mountain in front of him. Gu tribe was specialized in earth path and were long famous for it in northern plains. Piling stones to form a mountain, this would be an unimaginable and impossible tactics in earth. But in this world, this mountain formed in about 10 days proved nothing was impossible. The alliance leader Gu Guolong looked at the foot of the mountain from the summit. When a white-clothed, white-haired old man walked in front of the formation, the Gu masters around him roared in laughter and made disdainful comments, but Gu Guolong, however, had a bad feeling in his heart. He was well aware this mountain that they had formed by piling stones was built on many foundations constructed by his tribe's earth path Gu masters. Other tribes might find it hard to imitate, but it was not like there were no ways to break through it. After being defeated repeatedly for several rounds by He tribe army, Gu Guolong's military force had suffered damage and his ambition of vying for supremacy had dimmed down. He pondered over this and had decided to side with Lu tribe. Lu tribe's Lu Wenwu was wise and benevolent, treating his people leniently and being strict to himself. His reputation was much better than He Lulan's. Several days ago, Gu Guolong had secretly sent a letter to Lu Wenwu express his intent to side with Lu tribe. Lord Lu Wenwu has already replied and agreed to my tribe's request to seek refuge, and is leading his army to reinforce us. As long as I defend for 7 more days, this predicament before us will part like clouds and allow me to see the clear sky. Just as Gu Guolong was inwardly encouraging himself, Tai Bai Yunxing slowly extended his hands. His large palms were covered with callus and wrinkles, just like an old tree bark. He slowly transferred his primeval essence, a weak silver light blossomed forth from his hands. The silver light was weak at first but soon turned brighter and brighter, and in a few seconds, the silver light was so dazzling that people could not look at it directly. Mountain as before. Tai Bai Yunxing slowly chanted, his voice resonating in the air. On the summit, Gu Guolong heard this voice and a shocked expression appeared on his face. Oh no, he is Tai Bai Yunxing. At the very same moment, silver light burst out, transforming into a straight light pillar that directly rammed into the mountain peak. Countless Gu masters saw the situation turning awry and immediately activated their defense Gu or attack to intercept the light pillar. But the silver light disregarded all interception and shone on the mountain peak. Both humans and beasts were unscathed, but the mountain stones below Gu tribe, regardless of how enormous or thick they were, under the silver light, were like snow under scorching sun, as they turned into nothingness in a visible speed, seemingly like they had never even existed. As Gu tribe army lost the support under their feet, they started falling down one after another. It was a crushing defeat, countless died as they crashed down to the ground from a height of 500 to 600 feet. Even if Gu tribe masters were stupid, they would become aware of their crisis at this moment. They exclaimed in shock one after another. Such strength, this is Lord Tai Bai Yunxing's mountain as before. Heaven, why is old Sir Tai Bai helping tyrant He Lulan? Lord Tai Bai Yunxing helped us restore our tribe's spirit spring back then, he is our tribe's benefactor. Now, we need to fight with him. The mountain was the source of Gu tribe's army's confidence and now it was loudly crumbling apart. But even more than that was Tai Bai Yunxing's prestige that shook their will to battle. Ha ha ha, Tai Bai Yunxing is indeed worthy of his name, once he moves, it will be out of the ordinary. He Lulan laughed wildly as he looked at this scene from the main tent. Even he had not expected there to be such a hidden expert in the tribe. But each super tribe's supreme elders would occasionally fancy someone from demonic and righteous paths mortal Gu masters, they would then select these seeds to cultivate. In case these seeds were able to become Gu immortals, they would often be taken in by the super tribes and become their external supreme elder. This was one of the tactics the super tribes used to preserve their position and develop themselves. Clearly, Tai Bai Yunxing was a seed the rank 6 Gu immortal He Bai thought highly of and believed he had hopes of advancing to Gu immortal realm. Seeing the sorry figure of the enemy army, He tribe army's morale surged, many started laughing loudly and there were even more who shouted of slaughtering everyone in the enemy faction, even the old and the young. The Gu master experts in the main tent were also excited with only Fang Yuan having a calm expression. Tai Bai Yunxing's appearance was already within his expectation. In his previous life's 500 years of memories, Tai Bai Yunxing had joined He tribe army from this point onwards and provided an enormous assistance to He Lulan. He Lulan being able to become the winner in the end was mostly because of Tai Bai Yunxing. But Tai Bai Yunxing had a benevolent character and during the expedition, he became deeply aware of He Lulan's savage and brutal nature. Thus, when he entered Imperial Court Blessed Land and advanced to Gu Immortal, he did not agree to He Bai's request to become He tribe's external supreme elder. Kill! Kill these bastards, they actually dared to pile stones into a mountain to make a stand. He Lulan excitedly shouted. Tai Bai Yunxing, who was at the front of the troops, heard He Lulan's words and frowned. He heaved a deep sigh and did not continue to attack, instead transmitted his voice to He Lu Lan to persuade him, Alliance leader, heaven care for every living thing, why the need to kill? Throughout history, the struggle for imperial court has always been accompanied by blood dyeing the land and disastrous deaths. Since Alliance leader wants to enter the imperial court, it might be better to take in Gu tribe army. I am willing to persuade them on your behalf. Gu tribe piled up stones to form into a mountain and used it to contend against He tribe, but against Tai Bai Yun Sheng, this mountain they created instead became a fatal trap to themselves. The current situation was He tribe army tightly surrounding Gu tribe army. If Tai Bai Yun Sheng just made a casual move, he could reduce Gu tribe by over half. Gu tribe would naturally not sit and wait for their death, but when the mountain was completely collapsed, they would have almost no battle strength left and their final charge would contain no threat. However, Tai Bai Yun Sheng did not do this. He Lu Lan's eyes flashed with an ominous glint, although his heart raged with killing intent, he needed to think about Tai Bai Yun Sheng's face. Tai Bai Yun Sheng was not an ordinary Gu master. He was one of the extremely rare time path Gu masters, and had rank 5 peak stage cultivation. His prestige in northern plains was like the sun in daytime, his influence was spread throughout the entire region. He Lu Lan thought to himself before replying, then I shall listen to old sir, but it is too dangerous for old sir to go up the mountain alone. I will send 6 rank 4 experts to escort old sir. Tai Bai Yun Sheng nodded his head and climbed up the mountain under heavy protection. He had great prestige and his benevolent reputation had spread into the depths of people. As he climbed up the mountain, the enemy troops spontaneously parted way to reveal a passage in middle. I did not think I would meet benefactor at such a time. Gu Guolong laughed bitterly as he went forward and greeted. Back then, Gu tribe's spirit spring had dried up and they were pushed aside by several large tribes. It was very dangerous for them to migrate and thus they requested Tai Bai Yun Sheng to help them. Tai Bai Yun Sheng helped them without taking any fees and became a benefactor to everyone in Gu tribe. Under Tai Bai Yun Sheng's persuasion, although Gu Guolong admired Lu Wenwu, circumstances are more powerful than individuals, he had no choice but to lower his head. Tai Bai Yun Sheng had only been on the mountain for a quarter of an hour before he descended. When he climbed up, there were 6 people with him. When he descended, there were over 100,000. Evidently, Tai Bai Yun Sheng's persuasion was successful. Gu tribe army pledged allegiance to He Lu Lan, thus He tribe army's military strength increased sharply. Tai Bai Yun Sheng changed the battle situation by himself. And with his deep prestige, he saved over 100,000 lives and also established great merits for He tribe. On the very first day Tai Bai Yun Sheng came to He tribe army, he reached the top position in battle merit list. And exactly opposite to him was Fong Yuan. Wolf King Chang Shan Yin's name was listed at the last on the battle merit list, in scarlet red color and was negative, forming a stark contrast with Tai Bai Yun Sheng's battle merit. That very night, He Lu Lan sent command for a celebratory banquet and also a welcoming reception for Tai Bai Yun Sheng. The moon was bright and stars were few, as bonfire raged high. It was a festive scene with cheerful sounds resounding throughout the place and beautiful young girls in northern plains clothings embroidered with gold, silver and precious jewels, danced around the bonfire. He Lu Lan repeatedly toasted towards Tai Bai Yun Sheng and praised, with old sir assisting us, all defense lines are useless. Tai Bai Yun Sheng had 2 rank 5 Gu that were recognized by all northern plains people. One was mountain as before and another was river as before, both were time path Gu worms. The former could restore earth, hills, mountains, mounds and valleys to their original appearance, and the latter could restore rivers, lakes, streams, springs and waterfalls back to their original appearance. Gu Guolong created the mountain on a land that was originally a flat grassland. Thus, under the effect of mountain as before Gu, it returned to its original form. Gu tribe's spirit spring had been restored to its original state by River as before Gu, being able to create primeval stones again. In the battles between great armies, defense lines needed to be created, and this usually relied on earth path Gu worms to create long and tall defense walls. These defense walls would be restored to flat grassland under the effect of mountain as before Gu. Thus He Lu Lan's words, "all defense lines are useless," had deep reasoning behind them. Chapter 525, Rapid Changes and Fierce Experts. Northern Plains Calendar, middle of June. It should have been summer, but the aura of 10-year blizzard had already thickened. The sky would often be gloomy and cold wind blew with increasing condensed frost aura. And the struggle for imperial court that covered northern plains was advancing forward like a wildfire. At Mirror Lake, Ma tribe army and Song tribe had started their battle. Ma tribe's dominance was huge and they broke through two of Song tribe's defense lines in a row. Song tribe alliance leader Song Qing-yin led the army to counterattack and ambushed Ma tribe, causing them to give up a defense line. But soon after, Ma tribe's enslavement master Ma Zun moved and mobilized his trump card Pegasus group, surrounding and killing Song Qing-yin in the air. Song tribe army became a headless dragon, and after an internal discord caused by Ma tribe secretly, they finally crumbled apart. Ma tribe annexed most of the tribes while some remnants managed to escape to all directions. In this battle, one of the few flying masters of Northern Plains, rank 5 initial stage water fairy Song Qing-yin died and became a stepping stone for enslavement path master Ma Zun's fame. The strength Ma Zun displayed shocked the people. Faintly, people were already calling him Northern Plains #1 enslavement path master. Meng Qiu. New Heir 2's battle with Jiang Baoya. New Heir 2 was originally not an enslavement path Gu master and had switched to it midway. But the leopard group he led was unexpectedly able to overpower and defeat the veteran enslavement path master Jiang Baoya. Just because of this battle achievement, New Heir 2 rose to the ranks of enslavement path masters of Northern Plains, and together with Jiang Baoya, Yang Ping, Ma Zun and Chang Shan-yin, were called 5 Beast Kings. However, although New Heir 2 managed to become famous, the price he had to pay was very high. Jiang Baoya's counterattack had inflicted disastrous damage to New Heir 2's troops. Despite annexing the remnants of the enemy after the battle along with the war reparations, New Heir 2's army's momentum was hindered. Rat King Jiang Baoya managed to escape with his life and gathered the remnant army. His original rat group of over 600,000, now had less than 300,000 left. But even as a defeated general, many large forces still showed interest towards him and over 10 forces had already sent him an invitation letter. Du Jiao. Yi Lui Sang was empowered by the immortal Gu and with his formidable rank 5 peak stage fire path strength, he suppressed all the heroes and swept through the last obstacle, succeeding in dominating Du Jiao region. However, just as Yi Lui army was spreading towards all directions like an unstoppable wildfire, they were pincer attacked by a alliance of 7 armies. Each of the 7 armies had at least over 100,000 troops. Although none were super tribes, they had famous Gu master experts. The alliance of 7 armies created an aggressive momentum. Yi Lui army, who had just gotten a head start and were about to continue with great momentum, fell into a perilous situation. At the same time, He tribe army was also confronted by a great enemy and did not have any time to relax. Lu tribe, Lu Wenwu personally led his army and was pressing closer to He tribe every passing day. Previously, Gu Guolong had sought help from Lu Wenwu. Lu Wenwu was quite excited at reading the letter, knowing this was a rare opportunity. As long as Gu Guolong's side could hold on, Lu tribe army could pincer attack He tribe from behind and gain the upper hand, causing He tribe to land in a passive situation. But the result was that the situation changed way too fast. Lu tribe army was just halfway on their way when they heard the report of Gu tribe's defeat and submitting to He tribe. And the crucial character that made this possible was Tai by Yunsheng. Lu Wenwu was shocked at this report. A legendary character like Tai by Yunsheng had actually taken the initiative to come out and help He Lulan. Obtaining this person was like adding a huge army to He Lulan's forces. Lu Wenwu soon realized this was the behind-the-scenes move of He tribe's Gu immortal. According to the rule ancestor giant Sun set, Gu immortals could provide some help to mortals in the struggle for imperial court. Naturally, this type of help had its restrictions, at least the Gu immortals absolutely could not move personally. Whether it was the immortal Gu on Yi Lui Sang or Tai by Yunsheng who assisted He Lulan after receiving the letter, they were both Gu immortals' pawn pieces. Lu Wenwu naturally also had the privilege to request help from the Gu immortal supporting him. He Lulan obtained Tai by Yunsheng's assistance, who in Lu Wenwu's opinion was much more terrifying than Wolf King Chang Shan. Tai by Yunsheng's reputation was extremely high, whether it was righteous path or demonic path, many had received his grace. If just a small portion of these people had the heart to repay gratitude, the force they could gather would be very terrifying. Besides, once He tribe expanded, those scattered demonic Gu masters who had been watching from the sidelines would see the hopes of entering the imperial court in He tribe, and would side with them of their own initiative. And Tai by Yunsheng's existence would cause them to be even more inclined to choose He Lulan. With this, He tribe would continue to be stronger. And as time passed, they would throw all the other competitors behind. He Lulan defeated Dongfang Yuliang and obtained a super tribe's war reparations. This by itself is a great profit. By contrast, we might have defeated several allied armies, but they were all an alliance of large tribes, so the war reparations we received are lower than He tribe's. Now, He tribe has Tai by Yunsheng, a living signboard with him. If we give him time to expand, it will be very difficult to deal with him later. Lu Wenwu contemplated for a while before resolutely sending a command. Lu tribe army continued along their original plan, pushing on towards He tribe. He Lulan laughed heartily at this news. Come, come. He then sent the command to set up defense lines around the area. After constructing the first defense line properly, the large army slowly moved towards Lu tribe army. At every 1,000 li of distance, they would stop and garrison for several days to construct another defense line. 12 days later, He tribe army moved on from their fourth defense line and traveled 500 li before coming face to face with Lu tribe army. The two army parted away for the expert's challenging stage. He tribe's expert Hao Ji Lu charged forward, not giving precedence to others. Lu Wenwu saw this and sent Pei Yanfei. Hao Ji Lu was at rank 4 upper stage and Pei Yanfei was also the same. The two exchanged 20 moves, the situation was still neck and neck. Hao Ji Lu's offense surged higher and higher, causing people's hearts to shake. While Pei Yanfei used sharp and precise attacks, moving back and forth within the attacks, and sweeping everything before him. As the battle continued on, both of their primeval essence were running low. Gu masters were not good at prolonged battle, and once their primeval essence was exhausted, their battle strength would sharply fall. This cannot go on. The two had similar thoughts at the same time. Waterfall Gu. Hao Ji Lu took the lead and pushed forward his palms. A giant waterfall fell from the air and crashed towards Pei Yanfei with a rumbling sound. Pei Yanfei did not face it head-on, instead using his movement Gu to soar to the sky, evading the waterfall. Rank 4 Golden Coat Gu. Rank 4 Swallow Wings Gu. Rank 4 Rainbow Transformation Gu. Killer move, Golden Rainbow Strike. Pei Yanfei staked it all, using his signature killer move. At that instant, he turned into a golden rainbow and made an arc through the air as fast as lightning, cutting open the waterfall before bursting through Hao Ji Lu. However, Hao Ji Lu turned into water after being burst. It was not his real body. Water Image Gu. Hao Ji Lu had fought for a long time and already had the intel on Pei Yanfei, and knew Pei Yanfei did not have powerful detective Gu. Thus, when he sent the waterfall, he took the advantage of the giant current blocking Pei Yanfei's line of sight to quietly use his water image Gu while his real body hid inside the waterfall. His actions were extremely secretive and most of the Gu masters from both sides had been deceived. Pei Yanfei burst through the water image and immediately had warning signals going off in his heart. Without holding back, he transferred all his remaining primeval essence into his swallow wings Gu. The two pairs of swallow wings on his back rapidly flapped and took him away from the battlefield. Hao Ji Lu stood on the spot, his whole body soaked in water. Even though he won the battle, he was not happy. The enemy's killer move had astonishing power. This time he used water image Gu to deceive him, but what about the next time? Big brother, let me go out. Pei Yanfei returned in defeat, causing Mo Shikuang to fume with anger and impatiently requested to be sent to battle. Lu Wenwu had a smile on his face, but he did not agree. Third brother, no need to fret. You came forward in the previous battle, it is my turn now. An extremely tall and thin Gu master with robust and shiny bald head stood out and patted Mo Shikuang's shoulder. Second brother. Mo Shikuang helplessly shouted. This person's name was Ouyang Bai Sang, a demonic Gu master. In their early years, by chance encounter, he met Lu Wenwu and Mo Shikuang in an inheritance site. The three combined their strength to tackle the obstacles and obtained the inheritance, and because they felt affinity with each other, they became sworn brothers. I am Ouyang Bai Sang, who wants to come spar with me? Ouyang Bai Sang slowly walked towards the front of the troops and shouted in a soft voice. Soon after, he looked at Hao Ji Lu. If Water Demon wants to fight with me, you might as well get some rest first to recover your primeval essence. Water Demon snickered but did not agree to the provocation. No need to hurry, there will be many chances later on. After saying that, he returned to the camp. With the struggle for imperial court advancing to this stage, the intel on experts of every forces was widely spread. Ouyang Bai Sang was Mo Shikuang's second brother. Just this status alone made him someone who could not be underestimated. His performance was extremely glorious during the several large battles before. He was a transformation path expert and the Gu masters of this path possessed at least one killer move. With a cultivation of rank 4 peak stage, he was same as Mo Shikuang, possessing the battle strength comparable to a rank 5 Gu master. During his first battle, he had killed the enemy side's rank 5 alliance leader. A dazzling battle achievement like crossing realms to fight was something many people would look up to their whole lives. Facing such an expert, Water Demon Hao Ji Lu might have small chance at victory even if he was at his peak stage. Let alone now, when his energy was already exhausted in the battle with Pei Yanfei. A Gu master's state did not just depend on the amount of primeval essence in their aperture. Seeing Ouyang Bai Sang coming forward, He Lu Lan felt a slight headache. In contrast to Lu Wenwu, he currently found that he lacked fierce generals beside him. After taking in Gu tribe army, He tribe army now had 3 rank 5 Gu masters, He Lu Lan, Tai Bai Yunsheng and the just recently subdued Gu Guolong. He Lu Lan could not easily move because of his status as the alliance leader. Tai Bai Yunsheng was a healing Gu master and was not good at fighting. Gu Guolong was a rank 5 Earth Path Gu master but the other was at rank 4 peak stage. It would not conform to the rule of battle if he was sent out, and they would only be sneered upon. He then looked at his rank 4 Gu masters, Wolf King Chang Shan Yin, Water Demon Hao Ji Lu, Shadow Sword Expert Bian Si Xian, Little Fox Commander Tang Miaoming and Soul Blade Pan Ping. Chang Shan Yin and Tang Miaoming were enslavement path Gu masters, so they could be excluded. Water Demon Hao Ji Lu had already went up, so He Lu Lan only had 2 choices left. His gaze moved between Pan Ping and Bian Si Xian. Han Ping knew he was not Ouyang Bai Sang's match by just relying on his trump card, so he looked uncomfortable. While Bian Xixian's face was covered with a black veil, revealing her cold and clear gaze. He Lu Lan turned around towards Bian Xixian. For this challenge, I will have to trouble Shadow Sword Expert to make a move. I can only ensure that I won't lose my life, but I can't guarantee a victory. Bian Xixian coldly replied. He Lu Lan gave a hollow laugh. Although he was alliance leader and Bian Xixian had taken the poison vow, He Lu Lan could not forcibly make Bian Xixian fight to the death. Chapter 526, Azura Ouyang, Losses to Both Sides. Bian Xixian moved to the front of the troop and without saying much, quickly started the fight with Ouyang Bai Sang. The battle between the two attracted the close attention of countless people. If considering reputation, Shadow Sword Expert could throw Ouyang Bai Sang several streets away. But if considering cultivation and strength, Ouyang Bai Sang was a rank 4 peak stage Gu master who was able to cross a great realm and kill a rank 5 expert, while Shadow Sword Expert was only at rank 4 upper stage. Shadow Sword Expert's Gu worms complemented each other very well and there was no shortcomings. At the same time, she placed high importance on her movement ability. Her figure turned into shadows and continuously circled around Ouyang Bai Sang, attacking with multiple sword shadows from time to time. Ouyang Bai Sang stayed stationary on the spot as he defended, his body unmoving like the rocks on the shores of the sea. The battle went on for a while, when this sworn brother of Lu Wenwu slowly felt impatient. If you are only of this standard, then go die. He gave a low shout, as great changes appeared over his whole body. His teeth quickly grew longer and sharper like swords, and his 2 pairs of canine teeth protruded out of his mouth like fangs. Green hair started growing out of his bald head. Not only on his head, the green hair grew all over his body. His body made creaking noises and his blood flow instantly slowed down greatly. The originally tall and skinny body became even more thin, but the aura of danger coming from him grew thicker by 10 times. His eyes were no longer human eyes, but had transformed into a pair of eerie and cold green eyes, giving off a glossy jade light. Rank 5, Azura Zombie Gu. This Gu was classified under the most classic zombie series of transformation path. The series of zombie Gu were spread widely throughout the 5 regions. From rank 2 roaming zombie Gu to rank 3 hairy zombie Gu to rank 4 hopping zombie Gu till the rank 5 flying zombie Gu. There were 5 great flying zombie Gu in the world: Azura Zombie, Heavenly Demon Zombie, Blood White, Nightmare Zombie, and Plague Zombie. Many Gu masters who did not have much lifespan left and had no lifespan Gu to increase their life, would often choose to turn into zombies to prolong their life, transforming into a monster that was neither human nor ghost. Fong Yuan had already seen Blood White Gu before. At Qing Mao Mountain, Gu first generation ancestor had turned into Blood White to change his fate in defiance of heaven, but his plan was thwarted by divine investigator Tai Shuelang and others. This Azura Zombie Gu that Ouyang Bai Sang was using was a formidable Gu that was equally famous as Blood White Gu. Clank clank clank. Bian Xixian's sword shadows cut at Ouyang Bai Sang's body, but they actually produced sparks on contact, unable to injure his skin by even a fraction, only cutting several green hair. Overlapping Shadow Gu. Bian Xixian's eyes flashed with a sharp light, multiple sword shadows overlaid on top of one another to transform into an abysmally dark and extremely condensed sword. Now this is something. Green light blossomed in Ouyang Bai Sang's pupils as he looked at this sword shadow attack. He was not afraid, but instead was happy. He stretched his right hand in a form of a claw and grabbed at the sword shadow like he was grabbing a rabbit. This. Bian Xixian revealed shock. The sword shadow in her hand could not go an inch further. Gagaga. Ouyang Bai Sang laughed in a haggard and unpleasant tone as he clenched his claw-shaped right palm. Puff! A soft sound echoed. He actually forcibly burst apart the sword shadow. Bian Si Xian quickly retreated. The shattered sword shadow burst into many sharp pieces that ruthlessly struck at Ouyang Bai Sang, inflicting several deep wounds on his body, and slashed apart the 4 fingers on his right hand and almost cut apart the whole right fist. Bian Si Xian had bitterly accumulated battle merits from several small battles before and exchanged them for overlapping Shadow Gu from He Tribe supply camp. Under its effect, the multiple sword shadows offense could merge and could match the offensive prowess of a rank 5 attack Gu. Ouyang Bai Sang was slashed at by the sword shadow, but he did not feel any pain. He had transformed into a zombie, which caused the feeling of pain to almost disappear. At the same time, large amounts of eerie green blood flowed out of the wounds. The wounds were so deep that one could see the bone, but they healed within just few seconds of time. New hair grew on top of it and covered it. His broken fingers also grew again, and it looked like it did not take any effort. Bian Si Xian's complexion turned pale white at this sight. Ouyang Bai Sang looked hot-headed when he forcibly grabbed the sword shadow, but it was actually a psychological tactic. After he transformed into a Jura zombie, his defense and recovery ability were raised by several folds. Bian Si Xian's strongest attack could not affect him in any way. This unavoidably weakened Bian Si Xian's will to battle severely. Gu Master's battle strength did not only rely on the amount of primeval essence in their aperture, it also depended on their determination and mental state. I am an assassin, an expert at movement and infiltrating secretly. These challenges between the two armies are done out in the open, and facing someone head-on is not my usual style. Ouyang Bai Sang's performance greatly weakened the battle intent in Bian Si Xian's heart. In the next several rounds, she kept on attacking while moving around Ouyang Bai Sang, but it was clear her attacking frequency had decreased by a lot compared to before, and she was dodging most of the time. After exchanging 10 more moves, Bian Si Xian shouted and quickly pulled open a distance from Ouyang Bai Sang, retreating towards He Tribe camp. At this sight, Lu Tribe army's morale rose again, while He Tribe's morale shook and the higher-ups did not have good expressions. Bian Si Xian lost. Is Ouyang Bai Sang really so strong? His killer move is a Jura transformation, having killed a rank 5 expert with this killer move. Now, he has only used a Jura zombie Gu, not even using his full strength, but was still able to defeat Shadow Sword Expert. Shadow Sword Expert did not have a strong will to fight, but by continuously attacking while moving around, she has exhausted a considerable amount of Ouyang Bai Sang's primeval essence. We can send another person to fight with him. The discussion settled and He Tribe army sent Pan Ping to battle. But within only a short period of time, Pan Ping seemed unable to stall further and panically unsheathed the scimitar on his waist and used Soul Blade Gu. A cold light flashed, but it was in vain. Soul Blade Gu could ignore defense, but it did not work always and had a certain probability. Moreover, once this rank 4 Soul Blade Gu was activated, it needed 8 hours of rest before it could be used again. Ouyang Bai Sang got quite a shock. Despite having read relevant intel, Soul Blade Gu's speed was way faster than what he imagined, making him unable to react in time. I can't leave him alive. Ouyang Bai Sang's killing intent surged as he pounced towards Pan Ping. Pan Ping already knew the situation was bad the moment he saw his attack did not succeed, so he hurriedly retreated. Ouyang Bai Sang pursued him closely. He Tribe quickly sent 3 rank 4 experts to block Ouyang Bai Sang and rescue Pan Ping. The 3 rank 4 experts surrounded Ouyang Bai Sang and attacked fiercely. Ouyang Bai Sang was about to use his killer move, a Jura transformation, when Mo Shi Kuang, who was unable to endure any more, charged out of the main tent and shouted, "Second brother, I will lend you a hand." Ouyang Bai Sang, alone, put He tribe army under great pressure, now adding Mo Shi Kuang on top of that, and the situation turned way worse. Third brother, no need to interfere, what is the use even if there are more people? Look at my Azura transformation. Ouyang Bai Sang furiously roared under the 3 rank 4 experts' violent attacks, and used his killer move. His aura suddenly increased sharply, his body grew bigger, becoming a giant of over 10 feet. The muscles in his whole body inflated like a balloon and quickly transforming into absurd rock-like bulging muscles. And under his pair of arms, 2 new pairs of arms grew out. His body was completely dark green. His feet ripped apart the leather boots and stepped on the grassland, creating a deep crater. The protruding fangs turned dark brown and a third vertical eye opened from the center of his forehead. Howl! Ouyang Bai Sang roared, the berserk sound shaking the whole battlefield. The 3 He tribe's Gu masters felt their momentum slowed down. Ouyang Bai Sang waved his fist like swatting a fly, sending one flying far away. The original appearance of this chapter can be found at NOVROLSS1N. The other 2 attacked violently, golden blades striking rapidly like thunder, but Ouyang Bai Sang took it forcibly, his enormous body not even budging. Die! He attacked with all 6 hands, punching, swatting, grabbing, holding, with extremely fierce power. And all his hands moved smoothly, not hindering each other in the slightest. The 2 rank 4 could not take it head on, and started retreating. Ouyang Bai Sang was not satisfied, his every punch produced a sonic boom with power that caused people to pale. One rank 4 Gu master lasted only a short while under this crazed offense and was smashed into blood paste, while another Gu master was grabbed by Ouyang Bai Sang. Don't kill me, don't kill. His pleadings came to an end abruptly, blood started flowing rapidly out of his 7 facial orifices, his ribs were crushed and his body started deflating. Ouyang Bai Sang had crushed him to death with 2 hands. So violent. Cunning gentleman Sun Shi Han involuntarily cried out. He Lu Lan's express turned extremely unsightly, and Tai Bai Yun Xing also had a solemn expression. Lu tribe's army started cheering loudly while He tribe's Gu masters were in disorder, their morale falling down to the abyss. Lu Wenwu laughed at this sight before waving his hand, commenced the battle. All troops, charge! Immediately, Lu tribe army rushed forward like a flood with the gates opened, bringing a momentum that wanted to drown the world. Mo Shi Kuang, Pei Yan Fei and others were leading. He Lu Lan gnashed his teeth and also sent the command for the army to prepare to receive the attack. The large battle unfolded with all kinds of shouts and cries resounding through the battlefield. During the intense battle, Lu tribe's several great experts rampaged everywhere, causing He Lu Lan and the higher-ups to fall into disadvantage at the very start. But at the low level, He tribe was actually winning. Under Fang Yuan's control, the wolf group started wildly slaughtering Lu tribe's Gu masters, while Lu tribe army's Gu masters had no choice but to waste their precious primeval essence against the encroaching wolves. Thus, even if the wolves died, they died after contributing greatly. Lu tribe's Gu masters' experts sensed this unfavorably situation and started searching for Fang Yuan. However, Fang Yuan used the same old trick, hiding in some corner of the battlefield. He now already had 3 rank for lurking soul coat Gu, and with the concealment from these Gu, as long as he did not use over 80% of his strength, his soul fluctuations would be concealed. This large battle continued from the early morning to evening. The setting sun shone like blood as it shone down on the grassland that was covered with corpses and blood. There was no winner in this battle. Lu tribe suffered disastrous losses in their military forces because of the wolf group. After the Lu tribe's Gu master experts were not able to find Fang Yuan's location, they all concentrated in attacking He tribe's Gu master experts. He tribe's Gu master experts thus suffered serious damage. Mo Shi Kuang and Ouyang Bai Sang were difficult to restrain, and almost all the He tribe Gu masters were too terrified to confront them. He Tribe's battle intent was dissipating and was barely able to hold on. When the night fell, the night wolves became fierce, and Lu Wenwu, not wanting the lower-ranked Gu master casualties to increase, also had the thought of retreating. The first battle ended up in a draw, with their killing intent gradually calming down as the night progressed. Both sides retreated behind their defense lines to rest and prepare. Chapter 527, Wolf King, Striving for Victory. He Tribe's main tent. The atmosphere here was stifling. Almost everyone including He Lu Lan was injured. The lofty and grand Gu master experts looked very miserable at this moment. Lu Tribe's offense was too fierce. Lu Wenwu, Luo Bojun and Nye Yaqing are rank 5 experts, Mo Shikuang and Ouyang Baisang are rank 4 peak stage experts with battle strength of rank 5. Furthermore, there are other strong experts like Pei Yanfei and Chang Biao. Such quality of experts were rarely seen in the past 10 struggles for imperial court. Cunning gentleman Sun Shirhan sighed. Rank 4 Gu masters were already rare, each was the head of small or mid-sized forces or elders of large-sized forces. And with the high demand of aptitude, rank 5 was even rarer. Even a super force would only have 2-3 rank 5 Gu masters openly. Actually, when comparing, He Tribe was stronger in higher ranked forces. He Lu Lan, Tai Bai Yunsheng and Gu Guolong were rank 5 experts. And there were over 20 rank 4 experts including Chang Shan Yin, Tang Miao Ming, Hao Ji Lu, Bian Si Xian and Pan Ping. However, even between same-ranked Gu masters, there was a difference in their battle strength. Gu masters were a force that surpassed group battles, their individual strength could surpass the accumulation of a group. For example, just Fang Yuan alone could slaughter small or mid-sized tribes. In today's battle, Ouyang Baisang, alone, had slaughtered 5 rank 4 Gu masters and 12 rank 3 elders. It was not that He Tribe was weak, but that Lu Tribe's higher-ranked battle strength was too strong. Especially in this battle, Lu Tribe had slaughtered many of He Tribe's higher-ranked Gu masters, cutting down rank 4 Gu masters to almost half, causing the gap to further increase. The way to deal with the enormous dominance of Lu Tribe was a problem He Tribe had to quickly come up with a solution for. If I had some time, I could annex several large armies, and with Old Sir's prestige, subdue some experts. Maybe we could contend against Lu Tribe's higher-ranked strength then. He Lu Lan sighed, hating Lu Wenwu for choosing this time to attack, not giving him any space to develop. Tai Bai Yunxing immediately realized the deep intent behind He Lu Lan's words. I once rescued Gao Yang and Zhu Zai, and they had said they would repay the favor. I can write them a letter, and maybe they will come over. Everyone's spirits rose. Gao Yang and Zhu Zai were called the twin demons of demonic path in northern plains. They always worked together, having great teamwork with each other. These two were both rank 4 peak stage experts and had once killed a rank 5 expert by combining their strength. The pressure on He Lu Lan eased. If I can get Gao Yang and Zhu Zai's help, it can slightly make up for the gap between the two armies. But the events of the battle concerns everyone's life, and we cannot hope for others' mood in repaying the favor. In today's battle, it was thanks to Wolf King that we were able to exterminate large numbers of low-ranked enemy Gu masters, causing an enormous loss to Lu Tribe. If it were not for Lu Wenwu feeling hesitation, how could he have retreated so easily? Everyone's gaze landed on Fang Yuan, wanting to hear his thoughts. Fang Yuan had a tranquil expression, not having a trace of injury on his body. He had been hiding while commanding the wolf group in the battle, but he was the one who gained the most battle merits. Most of the ones in the main tent were inwardly infuriated at this, having envious and jealous feelings. But due to the situation, they did not dare to flare up. After the battle, Fang Yuan had been looking through his memories, trying to excavate the information on how He Lu Lan had prevailed over Lu Wenwu, but even after a long time of racking up his brain, he did not get any results. There was way too much information in the memories of his 500 years of past life, and much was forgotten. And from the look of it, this enormous problem that was troubling everyone was no more than just a minor detail in the long river of history in his past life. Feeling everyone's gaze, Fang Yuan raised his eyelids and lightly said, Lu tribe has enslavement path Gu masters, but their strongest expert is only Bei Chao Chuan, whose grass soldier troops is of no importance. Now, both the enemy and us have our strengths. We are like two giants stabbing each other with spears. Lu tribe is strong in terms of higher-ranked Gu masters, while I can slaughter many of their low-ranked Gu masters with my wolf group. Thus, it resulted in the draw today. The way to victory is restraining the enemy's advantage as well as strengthening our advantage. And restraining the enemy's Gu master experts is not an impossible thing. As long as I can have a group of strong wolves as trump cards, I can restrain them. But with this, I will have to use all my strength, and the rank 4 lurking soul coat Gu on me will no longer be able to conceal my soul fluctuations, and thus I will become the enemy's target. Fang Yuan's words caused everyone's eyes to brighten. Trump card wolf group. He Lu Lan lowered his head and mumbled. The current 5 great enslavement masters of Northern Plains were called the 5 Beast Kings. Among them, Horse King Ma Zun has mutated Pegasus Group. Eagle King Yang Ping has mutated Thunder Eagle Group. Rat King Jiang Baoya has mutated Mountain Drilling Rat Group. And the newly advanced enslavement master Leopard King New Air 2 controlled Glimpse Leopard Group. Only Wolf King Chang Shan Yin did not have a mutated beast group. Every mature mutated beast possessed the battle strength of rank 4 Gu masters. Once a group of mutated beasts formed, they would be more terrifying than the same amount of Gu masters. After all, Beast Group would charge dauntlessly under the enslavement path Gu masters' control. As Gu masters had all kinds of self-benefits to think about, even if they were under poison vow, they could not be made to fight to the death. If they had a group of mutated beasts, there was a huge chance of killing rank 5 experts. After all, even rank 5 Gu masters were mortals in the end, with limited primeval essence, and there were times when their strength was exhausted. However, making a mutated beast group was too time-consuming of a process and would exhaust enormous energy and resources. To look for a group of mutated wolf group for Fang Yuan in this short period of time, there was only one way: requesting help from He tribe's Gu immortals. The people in the main tent, even if they did not know the existence of Treasure Yellow Heaven, they were aware of the huge power of Gu immortals. In the history of Northern Plains, there were several examples where Gu immortals organized mutated beast group to provide assistance to their respective force. Mutated beast group is indeed a way out. I will give it a try first. He Lu Lan pondered for a while before saying vaguely. But everyone clearly knew the meaning behind He Lu Lan's words was to request help from the Gu immortal behind him. This immediately caused a new change in the gaze. Everyone looked at Fang Yuan. How could this Wolf King Chang Shan Yin have such good luck? Making a Gu immortal help him to organize a mutated wolf group. If he had to do this himself, he might not even be able to accomplish it in 20 to 30 years. Why don't we get such benefits? Everyone felt envious and jealous. Ultimately, it was the identity of Chang Shan Yin that Fang Yuan carried. An enslavement master was an existence that could turn tides around. He tribe was fighting Lu tribe. It was indeed wise to put heavy importance on Fang Yuan and give more resources to him. If I remember right, even if there is a mutated beast group, Lord Wolf King's battle merits is ranked number 1 from the bottom, the last place in the battle merits list, right? Cunning Gentleman was filled with jealousy, kindly reminding as if he had suddenly recalled it. Of course, I can't receive a mutated wolf group for nothing. Fang Yuan righteously nodded. Our rules cannot be broken. I will use battle merits to exchange for it. Of course, my battle merits are insufficient right now, so I can only borrow a bit more. This is something that cannot be helped. Everyone was speechless. Many people shouted inwardly at the same time. Do you feel no shame speaking such words? Do you still want your face? You already borrowed 1,300,000 battle merits before and you still want to borrow more. In the entire He tribe army, only you have borrowed battle merits. Don't you feel guilt holding that rank 5 amplify effect Gu? In fact, Fang Yuan not only did not feel any guilt, instead he said with a not satisfied voice, just a mutated beast group won't do, I still require rank 5 lurking soul coat Gu. Unfortunately, refining a rank 5 Gu has a success rate that is too low. I have collected 3 rank 4 Gu, but I don't dare to fuse them to rank 5. He Lulan gnashed his teeth. The number of times he could request help from the tribe was limited, the more he asked for help, the less the tribe's evaluation of him would be. But there was no other way, he could only nod at Fang Yuan in order to defeat Lu Wenwu. I will do something about it. Just as He Lulan and his group were strategizing, Lu Wenwu and his group were also planning on how to battle He tribe. In He tribe army, Wolf King Chang Shan Yin is the biggest problem. It was because of him that my army suffered disastrous losses in today's battle, with at least 30,000 Gu masters dying in the wolves' mouths. Sigh, this number is truly making my heart bleed. Everyone came forward to side with me because they believed in me. But it is because of my incompetence, we had to suffer such heavy casualties. In the main tent, Lu Wenwu shed tears and sighed. Big brother, how is it your fault? We can only blame those Gu masters for being useless. Mo Shikuang almost jumped up as he hurriedly retorted. Wolf King Chang Shan Yin might have huge reputation, but he is not a true hero. Ouyang Bai Sang, however, loftily snorted, his tone contained disdain. The Grand Wolf King was actually sneakily hiding in some corner like a rat, it really makes people look down upon him. But, such a Wolf King is the most troublesome. Lu Wenwu sighed inwardly while opening his weeping eyes and asked the group, do any of you have a good method to deal with Wolf King? Mo Shikuang and Ouyang Bai Sang stopped speaking. They were experts at fighting, things like strategizing were not their strong points. Immerse yourself in the storyverse, N. VEpsilon N. I have a plan. Bei Chao Chuan stood up and said confidently, Wolf King Chang Shan Yin was originally Chang tribe's tribesman. Although he spoke of taking revenge, the blood ties he has with Chang tribe is unmistakable and cannot be severed. The current Chang tribe leader Lord Chang Biao was once Chang Shan Yin's best friend. After Chang Shan Yin disappeared, Chang Biao married his wife and raised his 3-year-old son who is currently Chang tribe's young tribe leader Chang Jiyu. We might as well try to use this to deal with Wolf King. Who knows if it might be effective? This idea is not bad. Lu Wenwu's eyes gleamed. After the discussion ended, Fang Yuan returned to his large lizard house Gu. The problem of refining rank 5 lurking soul coat Gu had been hurting his head recently. If he could borrow He tribe's Gu immortal's power to organize a mutated beast group and also refine rank 5 lurking soul coat Gu, it would be the best. Fang Yuan felt there was a huge chance for this to succeed. Although he could not remember all the minor details of this time's struggle for imperial court, but he knew clearly He Lulan was able to enter imperial court and the support of the Gu immortal behind He Lulan was inseparable from this. The two sides will at least rest and reorganize for 3 days. In this time, He tribe's Gu immortals will have received He Lulan's letter for assistance. Before this, I need to prepare. Thinking of his great plan, the corners of Fang Yuan's lips involuntarily curled up into a smile. Chapter 528, True Martial Secret, Awaiting Assistance. Shao Hun Blessed Land. This place was always covered in dense dark clouds and female-shaped trees grew on the ground. These trees were very peculiar. The tree trunk was curved and branches wrapped around each other like a girl's naked body. The trees were in all kinds of enchanting postures. Female-shaped trees grew all over the place, becoming a forest. In the deepest part of the forest was the tallest female-shaped tree with a height of 1,000 feet and roots that extended for a range of 10,000 li. This female-shaped tree king, however, did not look seductive, instead giving off pure and holy aura. The tree king's trunk was ramrod straight, giving a highly spirited feeling. Its two enormous branches formed into hands that covered the chest. The side branches from them formed into two well-developed and large palms that lifted a green treehouse. Red vermilion fruits grew all over the treehouse with reddish-brown rattan twining around them, making the fruits look like hearts. Two Gu immortals were sitting inside this treehouse, both in black clothes. On the left was an ordinary-looking man who was called He Tribe Stoneman. During his young age, he was awkward at conversing but was smart and careful inside. He was He Bai. On the right side, however, was a handsome man who was radiating with vigor, having eyes that seemed to shine, and appeared confident and at ease. He was He Tribe's supreme elder He Cheng, He Lu Lan's father and a famous handsome man as well as the male lead in Su Xian's night elopement. Say, you just returned from Niu blessed land, did you see Dong Fong Chung Fan? How is he? He Cheng asked leisurely while taking a sip of tea. He Bai nodded. Senior Dong Fong isn't looking for lifespan Gu, there is not much of his lifespan left, he can probably only live for 2-3 years more. But his vision is broad and has magnanimous conduct, already seeing through the trouble of life and death and only wants to wholeheartedly nurture his successor Dong Fong Yu Liang now. Magnanimous conduct, broad vision. He Cheng scoffed, shaking his head in disdain. Brother, you saw wrong. Dong Fong Chung Fan is a genuine petty person, he schemed against the northern plains and is extremely insidious and so is hated by all the Gu immortals. If it was not so, he could have already bought lifespan Gu, why would he have fallen into this state? I have been secretly investigating over these years and have discovered he had a hand in my wife Su Xian'er's death. He Cheng revealed this secret information, causing He Bai to be extremely startled. What? There was such a thing? He Bai exclaimed in shock. Su Xian'er was He Cheng's wife. Over 200 years back, Su Xian'er was no more than a daughter of a concubine in Su tribe, and while she poured wine for Lord He Cheng back then in the banquet, He Cheng immediately fell in love at first sight. In that banquet, He Cheng was poisoned by Su tribe leader, his strength fell to the bottom and he was hunted down. After Su Xian'er accidentally learned of it, she resolutely rushed out of the tribe in the dead of night to rescue He Cheng whom she had only met once. At that time, Su Xian'er only had rank 1 cultivation, and ferocious beasts roamed the night grassland that were beyond her ability to contend. But under the play of fate, she was able to find the unconscious He Cheng. He Cheng was thus saved and managed to live. He had then asked Su Xian'er with suspicion, I was plotted against by your tribe leader and you are a Su tribesman, why would you save an enemy of your tribe? Su Xian'er had answered, Lord has a noble spirit, this humble girl fell in love at first sight. Su tribe leader is short-sighted and plotted against Lord under the persuasion of some petty people, but he never considered the result of offending He tribe. If he was allowed to have his way, Su tribe is destined to become a sacrificial pawn between two super tribes. People say Lord repays a favor received by 100 times. This humble girl saved Lord today and only hopes Lord can give me a place to stay. It is just and proper for Lord to take revenge against Su tribe, but I hope Lord can be merciful and leave behind a trace of bloodline for Su tribe. The moonlight shone on the jade-like beauty with slender and fair hands. He Cheng was overwhelmed at this sight, he tightly held Su Xian'er's hand and swore, Your love is as deep as the sea, I, He Cheng, am not a cruel person, how could I not repay you? From today onwards, you will be my only wife. I will not care for any other beauties, no matter how beautiful they are. In this life, I will never betray you. Su Xian'er saving He Cheng was akin to betraying the tribe. He Cheng was very grateful and interlinked with her as husband and wife. From that day onwards, the two helped each other, loving and respecting each other their whole life. 100 years later, both became Gu immortals, becoming a story that spread far and wide in northern plains. And Su Xian's night elopement was also spread wide, encouraging countless women to bravely take the initiative to love. He Bai's mood became solemn. Could it be over 20 years ago sister-in-law did not die because of the blessed land's earthly calamity? He Qing scoffed, there was indeed an earthly calamity, but the earthly calamity was influenced by people. Don't forget brother, old ancestor giant son immortal venerable has such methods. Dongfang tribe has entered imperial court many times as a tribe with Huang Jin bloodline, they might have received an inheritance relevant to such methods from 88 True Yang building. Sigh, I only have a little evidence, it is not enough to prove Dongfang Changfan as the main culprit. He Bai remained dazed for quite a while before sighing, you really can't judge people by appearance. He Qing patted his shoulder and comforted in a gentle voice, brother, you have become a Gu immortal for less than 10 years. Gu immortal's circle might not be big, but the treacherous conspiracies inside it are much deeper than between mortals. He Bai was just about to speak, when his expression blanked, He Lu Lan has sent a letter. He Qing nodded, and with a shift of his mind, loosened the defense over Shao Hun blessed land by a little, the space opened up and in flew a butterfly. He Bai stretched his right hand, this butterfly fluttered and gently landed on his palm. This was rank 5 butterfly letter Gu. He Bai closed his eyes and concentrated on the butterfly letter Gu from He Lu Lan, containing his request. What is it? Did that disappointing child of mine ask you for help again? When He Bai opened his eyes, He Qing snorted and asked with a displeased tone. He Bai forced a smile, brother, He Lu Lan is you and sister-in-law Su Xian'er's son. Although sister-in-law suffered and fell seriously ill when giving birth to He Lu Lan, leading to her strength being greatly diminished and thus passing away in the earthly calamity several years later, the child is still innocent, you should not disregard him because of it. You even gave him to the 27th concubine fairy Xianxia to adopt and did not allow him to light an incense to pay respects to his own mother. He Qing snorted with dissatisfaction, but did not argue. He Bai sighed, this is your family affair and it is truly not my place to meddle. But I have given a lot of thoughts to Big Brother's actions. You sent He Lu Lan to be adopted by the childless fairy Xianxia in order to preserve He Lu Lan's life though her immortal Gu dark limit. He Lu Lan has the 10 extreme physique, great strength true martial. To stimulate his spirit, you gave him a condition that as long as he advanced to Gu immortal, he could light the incense for his mother. Little brother deeply admire your actions, but big brother, your way of doing things will only deepen the misunderstandings between father and son, it is not a good method looking at the long-term drawbacks. He Qing heaved a sigh, not replying He Bai, but instead asked, what did that child mention in the request? He Bai clapped his palm and smiled, look big brother, you showed indifference but you still care about nephew's safety in your heart. Nephew hopes we can prepare a mutated wolf group and also a rank 5 lurking soul coat Gu. L1 T Lagoon witnessed the first publication of this chapter on Novero LB1N. Humph, this kid is truly insolent. Lurking soul coat Gu is okay, but our He tribe does not have mutated wolf group. Right now, our He tribe is battling Lu tribe. Lu tribe's current generation tribe leader Lu Wenwu is not someone who can be underestimated. Back then, the inheritance of Harmony Immortal fell in his hand. He has 2 sworn brothers, both are fierce warriors and can match 10,000 soldiers. However, nephew Lu Lan also has a great general under him, Wolf King Changshan Yin. This time's request is because he has placed his hopes on Changshan Yin. He Bai explained. He Qing mumbled, rank 5 lurking soul coat Gu is no issue, I have one with me. But mutated wolf group would have to be purchased from treasure yellow heaven. I will have to request brother for this. He Bai quickly shook his hand, brother, you don't have to be so polite. I still need to rely on nephew to enter imperial court and find immortal Gu wooden chicken in 88 True Yang building. He Qing heaved a long sigh and said with an exhausted voice, great strength true martial physique needs a strength path immortal Gu to advance to Gu immortal realm. Unfortunately, immortal Gu are very difficult to find, our He tribe also does not have any strength path immortal Gu. Success and failure is decided by heaven, we can only try our best. We have already done all we can, now everything will depend on He Lu Lan's efforts and luck. Parents are truly constantly worrying about their children. He Bai sighed inwardly and said his farewell to He Cheng. After he returned to his Ku Mu blessed land, he immediately connected to Treasure Yellow Heaven and started buying mutated wolves. Wolf emperors could be considered as a strength of blessed land, it was very hard to find Gu immortals selling them. But mutated wolves were only equivalent to rank 4 and were much easier to find. He Bai was not worried, mutated beasts were not rare and precious goods, and as long as one had sufficient immortal essence stones, they could buy a large group of them. Of course, spending a lot to buy the mutated wolf group was a loss to He Bai. But he was planning for an immortal Gu in 88 True Yang building, and it was right for him to invest in the early stages. Imperial Court Blessed Land was the work of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, and unless one reached rank 9, no Gu immortals could enter inside. After the news of buying mutated wolf group in high price was spread, He Bai soon received a divine sense from someone called Fox Immortal. Fox Immortal had over 100 mutated wolves and quoted a rather high price for them, they were clearly taking advantage of He Bai's difficulty. He Bai had already anticipated such a situation, it was only that he had not expected this Fox Immortal to move so quickly at the chance. He gnashed his teeth and bought this group of mutated wolves. The one selling this group of mutated wolves was none other than Little Hu Immortal, who had received Fong Yuan's instructions. Previously, they had resold immortal Gu recipes and earned dozen or so immortal essence stones. Fong Yuan had then instructed Little Hu Immortal to purchase purple crystal relic Gu and also look for any wolf groups sold cheaply at Treasure Yellow Heaven, and buy them. Thus, Hu Immortal Blessed Land had accumulated over 100 mutated wolves, among them were Blood Forest Wolf, Berserk Wolf, Shark Fin Wolf, White Eyes Wolf and others. Now, by reselling these mutated wolves at high price to He Bai, they had profited quite a bit. As for Fong Yuan, he was calmly resting in the camp, waiting for He tribe's assistance. Chapter 529, Diligence Despite Transmigration. It was difficult to move through the muddy swamp, but Ma tribe's army was in high spirits. The happiness of annexing Do tribe army as well as the excitement of a decisive victory could still be seen on everyone's faces. Xianxia was riding a horse, and as he looked at the generals and soldiers around him with satisfaction, as an investigative Gu master brought him the latest battle reports. He opened up the documents and read. He tribe and Lu tribe has begun to fight. The first battle resulted in a draw, and currently, both are garrisoned opposite each other. The situation is in a stalemate. Yi Lui army was ambushed at night by the 7 Army Alliance. Yi Lui Sang was very powerful and defeated 6 rank 5 experts one after another, but he was only one person and was unable to save the situation. Currently, Yi Lui tribe's remnant army is fleeing towards Qing'an region. Rat King Jiang Baoya has accepted Yang tribe's invitation and has officially entered Yang tribe's alliance. New Air 2 army has not resumed their expedition, instead resting in capturing huge numbers of leopard groups. These battle reports caused Xianxia to smile with joy. He Lu Lan and Lu Wenwu are popular candidates to win this time's Imperial Court contest. I did not think these two would confront each other this early, it will be good if they both suffer. Since Yi Lui Sang obtained Immortal Gu, he is a one-man army. But for Yi Lui tribe to be suddenly attacked by the 7 armies, Snowy Mountain most likely has influence behind it. Ma tribe, to advance to a super tribe, had secretly joined hands with demonic path Gu immortals who were coveting after 88 True Yang building. Xianxia was Ma tribe's young tribe leader and thus was aware of the undertable deals of the tribes. Northern Plains was like a huge chessboard while the Gu immortals were the chess players. Besides righteous path Gu masters, demonic path Gu immortals also had their own pawns whom they supported. And as the tribes with Huang Jin bloodline were willing to join hands with demonic Path Gu immortals in order to have a better survival chance. If they lost in the struggle for imperial court, these tribes would often enter the blessed lands of the demonic Path Gu immortals to escape from the blizzard disaster. Immortal Gu were rare. Yi Lui tribe's supreme elder had entrusted an immortal Gu to Yi Lui Sang. It was equivalent to placing a bet in this game. According to the rules set by Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, as long as immortal Gu were snatched by mortals in the struggle for imperial court, the Gu immortals cannot take them back. Such a huge bet had its corresponding risk. It was because of the immortal Gu on Yi Lui Sang that caused him to be the target of Gu immortals. Thus they incited 7 armies to ambush Yi Lui army. Rat King has joined Yang tribe, which means an alliance of Rat King and Eagle King Yang Ping, causing this underdog Yang tribe to become a new contender to win the struggle for imperial court. But Yang tribe's foundations are far inferior to our Ma tribe, and Rat King was also already crippled. They aren't of much threat to us. Although new heir 2 is called Leopard King, his leopard group has been inflicted heavy losses. However, he has been capturing wild leopard groups by himself without asking for help from the Gu immortal behind him. This is a bit strange. But overall, my Ma tribe's situation is still much better. Our next opponents are weaker than us. As long as we keep on winning, continue to devour other tribes and expand, our hopes of entering imperial court will become bigger and bigger. Ma Ying-jie could not help clenching his fists at this, his eyes letting out a fierce light. The ambitions and goals of a man were pushing him to establish great feats and accomplishments. And at the same time, within the high-spirited army was a little girl, who was weeping in a carriage. Lady Xiao Yun, don't keep on grieving, your father's death was a heart-rending event, but you need to eat, if not you will faint from hunger. Beside the little girl, the anxious Fei Kai was comforting her in a clumsy way. This weeping little girl was none other than Zhao Lianyun. Her father, Zhao tribe's leader, had sacrificed his life in the previous large battle. Losing the protection of the father who loved her dearly, Zhao Lianyun immediately felt her world toppling. On the very night of her father's death, her stepmother remarried the new Zhao tribe leader, and Zhao Lianyun's position took a sharp dive. There will always be deaths in war, this is normal. My father was also killed by others. Fei Kai continued to persuade Zhao Lianyun when he saw she was still crying. Zhao Lianyun suddenly raised her head while sobbing, looking at Fei Kai with an insoluble hatred in her tear-filled eyes, and kicked him. You idiot, you don't even know how to comfort people. The sorrow in her heart was not fake. Although she inexplicably arrived in this world and it had not been long since her arrival, her father's love towards her was filled with sincerity. She was very grateful for this genuine love, and her dependence on him had slowly grown into true affection. But now, her father had died in the battlefield, making her alone and helpless. Missy, you were hiding here, you really caused much trouble for me. Quick, follow me, your mother is calling you. At this time, the curtain of the carriage was lifted open by the old caretaker, who then grabbed Zhao Lianyun's small arm. Zhao Lianyun struggled and shouted, "My mother is dead, she is not my mother. I won't go. This is not up to you." The old caretaker scoffed and tried to forcibly drag Zhao Lianyun out of the carriage. When she had been serving Zhao Lianyun, she was teased and pranked by Zhao Lianyun time and again. Now, as she looked at Zhao Lianyun's miserable state, the old caretaker felt the pleasure of taking revenge. "Let go of Lady Xiao Yun." Fei Kai shouted and punched the old caretaker. The old caretaker fell out of the carriage from this heavy punch. She stood up and touched her eye that had become purple from the bruise. She screamed in a shrill voice, "You hit me, a slave dared to hit a civilian? Who gave you such big guts? I will report you, you are going to die. You will be skinned alive and your corpse will be hung up in the sunlight till it dries up." The old caretaker was extremely furious, and with her unkempt hair and sinister gaze, she looked like a hopping old hen. However, her scream had indeed attracted the surrounding people. Fei Kai clenched his fists and furiously stared at the old caretaker while firmly protecting Zhao Lianyun behind him. Zhao Lianyun pushed aside Fei Kai's arm and stood on the carriage. Her fair face still had tear stains. She looked at the old caretaker and scoffed. What was it? You want to punish Fei Kai? All right. Report him, but according to the rules, you need to first inform his master to demand compensation. Since it is so, go look for young tribe leader. Fei Kai is Lord Ma Yingjie's slave leader. What? The old caretaker cried out in shock. Her screams abruptly stopped and the anger in her heart dissipated like a tide, only leaving behind an extreme terror. This rash stupid kid was actually Lord Ma Yingjie's personal slave. Moreover, he was Lord Ma Yingjie's slave leader who was in charge of his everyday life. One needed to look at the owner before beating the dog. The old caretaker might be a civilian with a status higher than that of a slave, but it was a different matter when Fei Kai was Ma Yingjie's slave leader. If she truly reported recklessly, she might instead be sacrificed by Zhao tribe. After the shock, the old caretaker who had lost her face greatly looked gloomy. She rigidly stared at Zhao Lianyun. Little girl, even young tribe leader Ma Yingjie's slave leader cannot protect you. You are a person of Zhao tribe. Even after your death, you will be our Zhao tribe's ghost. Your mother is our Zhao tribe's current tribe lady. Listen to me properly, tribe lady has already arranged your marriage to Wei tribe's eldest young master. Now behave properly. What? Zhao Lianyun involuntarily cried out. Marrying to Wei tribe's eldest young master is your blessing. The old caretaker sinisterly smiled. Zhao Lianyun's whole body shook and fell down on the wooden board of the carriage. Lady Xiao Yun. Fei Kai quickly supported her. The old caretaker felt incomparable pleasure at this sight and left with immense satisfaction. She still needed report to Zhao tribe's tribe lady. Zhao Lianyun was expressionlessly. This immense shock left her in a dazed state filled with despair, allowing Fei Kai to hold her in the carriage. For 3 days, she curled up at a corner of the carriage, without moving or speaking. Fei Kai's persuasion was of no use, and could only helplessly feed her. Zhao Lianyun was like a wooden puppet, letting Fei Kai control her. Fei Kai also could not accompany her all the time, and every time Ma Yingjie summoned him, he would immediately leave. This sudden change of events and this ice-cold reality shattered the foolish pride Zhao Lianyun had as a transmigrator. She suddenly had a profound realization: a transmigrator is nothing special. Why did I think I could whip up a storm in this world after being so ordinary in my previous world? Moreover, women were discriminated in Northern Plains and were treated as goods to be used for political marriage. Northern Plains women could only adhere to men and could not refuse a man's forceful marriage. This was a rule set by Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. Previously, when she heard of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's deeds, she felt like she was listening to a story, listening to a legend of a hero. But now, she was personally experiencing the torment caused by Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. Women are like clothes while brothers are like our hands and feet. This was the favorite catchphrase of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. He pulled apart the status of man and woman to an extremely unfair level. Now he had become the most detestable person in Zhao Lianyun's heart. No wonder Su Xian's night elopement story pierced so deep into people's hearts, causing Northern Plains women to eagerly imitate it. Rather than passively suffering fate's arrangement, it is better to take the initiative to chase after one's happiness. But this carries unknown risks. As she thought of this, Zhao Lianyun's awareness of the vile living environment deepened by another layer. Wei tribe's eldest young master is a famous trash. He is fat like a pig with pockmarks all over his face and only at rank 1 peak stage, but is extremely lecherous and very fickle-hearted. It is because of his incompetence, Wei tribe's young tribe leader position went to his younger brother. I won't marry that pig even if I die. But what should I do? I am only a mortal, and since I haven't reached 13, I cannot awaken my aperture and cannot cultivate. It is also possible that I don't have any cultivation aptitude. And the person who killed my father is Do-E, a rank 5 Gu master who has sided with my tribe now and is now a higher-up of the alliance. Who can I rely on? What path should I take? Bewilderment, hesitation and fear filled Zhao Lianyun's heart. In the early morning of the fourth day, Fei Kai lifted up the carriage curtain and entered with food and clean water. The light of the dawn followed the curtain opening and shone on Zhao Lianyun's face. Zhao Lianyun woke up, slowly opening her swollen eyes. You brought food? She grabbed the food from Fei Kai's hand and began to devour it. Lady Xiaoyun, are you okay? Fei Kai was happy at this change. Yes, I have thought it through, it is better to rely on myself. Although I have been bound by the wedding betrothment, it can only be implemented when I am 16. I still have time. Zhao Lianyun's gaze shone like fire. Ah, Lady Xiaoyun, you don't accept the betrothal? Fei Kai was startled. In his impression, Northern Plains could only accept their fate when their marriage was decided. Zhao Lianyun rolled her eyes and spoke in a righteous tone, I am not an ordinary person, I absolutely won't compromise. But I cannot go to the tribe now and can only live here for some time, and rely on you Fei Kai. No problem. Fei Kai patted his chest, laughing foolishly. Zhao Lianyun's heart warmed and her tone turned softer. Fei Kai, your father also died in battlefield. Yes, he died. I was heartbroken during that time. But death is normal in Northern Plains. Father died in battle, he died a glorious death. Fei Kai said with a smile. As expected, winner takes it all. Under the dazzling and splendid throne lies a path of bones. Zhao Lianyun sighed, before cursing, what a scam, I crossed over to this world and have yet to mature but my fate has already been decided by others, I can't even begin to feel anger. A letter was placed in front of Fong Yuan. This special letter was openly sent by the enemy and was now brought over by cunning gentleman Sun Shirhan. Fong Yuan opened it and read, this letter was personally written by Chang Biao, reminiscing the past and how they were on opposite sides now. He was inviting Wolf King to have a discussion before the battle and reminisce about the old times. And at that time, he could let Chang Ji meet his father. Great ploy. Fong Yuan scoffed and placed down the letter. At this time, Sun Shirhan smiled, the mutated wolf group and rank 5 lurking soul coat Gu have both arrived. But the higher-ups of the alliance are hesitating because of this letter. They are hoping Lord Wolf King would battle against your kin in the name of righteousness, to prove your innocence. Otherwise, I'm afraid this mutated wolf group. Chapter 530, Adjusting his appearance for him. Lu Tribe Defense Line, inside the camp tent. Mother, what kind of person was father? Chang Ji had a hesitant expression. After a long while, he asked the burning question in his heart. He had never met Chang Shanyin, back then when Chang Shanyin's mother died from poison, and when Chang Shanyin fought to the death with Ha Tu-gu, Chang Ji was only an unborn child in his mother's womb. His mother Anai Shuetong had a frowned expression as she breathed out, using a nostalgic tone, my child, has your heart wavered? Don't forget our current circumstances. Don't worry about your father, he is a legend in Northern Plains, back then he killed Ha Tu-gu and the bandits single-handedly, he is a hero who exterminated a great threat for the people. Chang Ji interrupted his mother, Mother, I'm sick of hearing that. Since birth, I've been hearing these stories all my life, wherever I go, whatever I do, people will say, oh look, as expected of Chang Shanyin's son. Father is like the eagle in the sky, flying high and casting his shadow on the ground. In a few days, I will be meeting him, my heart is in a mess, I just want to hear his. Chang Ji was still speaking, when the tent flap was opened, as a domineering middle-aged man with a powerful aura walked in. It was Chang tribe's current tribe leader, Chang Shan brother, rank 4 upper stage wind path expert, Chang Biao. Greetings to Lord Stepfather. Chang Ji quickly paid respects. My child, go out first, I need to talk with your mother. Chang Biao said gently. Yes. Chang Ji had to leave the tent. Once the flap was closed, with the guards outside, there were only Chang Biao and Enai Shuetong left in the tent. Husband. Enai Shuetong jumped into Chang Biao's embrace, tears flowing out of her weak and feeble eyes. Sigh, I know you have been feeling terrible these days. Chang Biao embraced Enai Shuetong as he caressed her hair softly. At the same time, he used his gu worm to isolate the place from the outside. Enai Shuetong sobbed, Yu Er has been asking me about Chang Shan again, what should I say? Do you know, just now I had the urge and almost told him the truth, that he is not Chang Shan flesh and blood, that he is the crystallization of our love. Chang Biao's body shuddered, he was also feeling great conflict and pain in his heart. He solemnly said, This is all my fault for being useless. Back then we were childhood friends, it was Chang Shan who came into the picture abruptly and lusted after your beauty. On the day of our marriage, he snatched you away. I was not his match, I could only find you at night secretly and that resulted in our son Chang Ji. But once he was born, if his bloodline was examined, the truth would be out and we would be doomed. Thus, I and Hatu Gu cooperated and plotted against Chang Shan. Next, I used my status as Chang Shan brother to marry you and make Chang Ji my godson. These years, although the tribe isn't in good shape, this is the happiest years of our lives. Chang Ji was successfully made young tribe leader by me, but precisely so, you cannot expose this secret. Once the secret is exposed, Chang Biao and Enai Shuetong would get publicly shamed, they would be called an adulterous couple, and they will never be able to raise their heads again. They even caused harm to an expert of the tribe, for their own selfish motives, they disregarded the tribe's situation, it was truly a heinous crime. As for Chang Ji, he would be the shameful illegitimate child. Be it his young tribe leader position, or Chang Biao's tribe leader position, they would be at risk of being taken, as people with ambitions would target them. Righteous path had its own rules. All along, Chang Biao had been taking care of his deceased brother's wife, and treated his godson as his own. Such brotherhood was admirable, such gracefulness was praised widely. And exactly because of this, Chang Biao held a small advantage and became Chang tribe's new tribe leader. Once this truth was exposed, he would lose everything. The ambitionists in the tribe would not let him go. In order to recruit Chang Shan, Lu Wenwu would not give up this chance. By then, his only option would be to escape with Enai Shuetong in his own flesh and blood Chang Ji, becoming a demonic gu master. He would be despised by his tribe, and chased by his tribe. Why? Why? Why is longevity heaven doing this to us? We love each other so dearly, yet we end up in such a spot. Chang Shan was the real culprit, he is an evil person, why is he praised? As for us, we can only wear a mask to live, even lying to our own son. Enai Shuetong cried profusely, she was very emotional. These days, she had been under a lot of pressure. Ever since Chang Shan reappeared, she had not been sleeping well, her former nightmare reappeared, causing her to fall into deep worry. Do you think that Lu Tribe Alliance leader is trying to recruit Chang Shan? If Chang Shan agrees, would we have to go back to that life? Chang Shan is taking revenge everywhere now, will he find out the fact that we plotted against him? If he returns to the tribe, what will we do? Lying in her lover's embrace, Enai Shuetong asked multiple questions as she raised her neck. It won't happen, it won't. Don't think of it as such a severe situation. Chang Biao gently consoled the woman of his life. Firstly, Chang Shan has not found out we were the culprit. Otherwise, with his nature, he would have declared it long ago and caused our reputation to go down the drain. He is only suspicious of Chang tribe having a traitor, but he does not know who. Lu Alliance leader does want to recruit Chang Shan-yin. He is Wolf King after all, an enslavement path master. Any alliance would welcome him and get his assistance. But Lord Lu Wenwu is not a normal person. He knows clearly in his heart that there is little hope of getting the Wolf King to come over. His greatest intention is to sow discord and waver the Wolf King's fighting spirit. Think about it, Chang Shan-yin does not know about Chang Ji-yu's true identity. He thinks this is his son. As a father, what would he be thinking? Blood is thicker than water. When Chang Shan-yin thinks about Chang Ji-yu being killed by his wolf group, would he go all out in the upcoming battle? Is that so? Ni Shuetong heard this and calmed down. Alright, stop worrying, I am here. Chang Biao patted Ni Shuetong's back with an affectionate gaze. The tent was filled with the warmth of love. But this kind of atmosphere, how long would it last? Neither Chang Biao nor Ni Shuetong had any confidence in this. Whoosh! A person broke the large lizard house Gu's window and crashed in. Cunning gentleman Sun Shirhan sprawled on the ground. His face was bruised as he shouted loudly with a fearful and vicious expression, "Wolf King attacked, Wolf King attacked me. He is revolting, he is murdering us, help, save me." Sun Shirhan was a popular person near He Lulan. His shouts quickly attracted many Gu masters. Fang Yuan snorted, jumping out of the window and giving Sun Shirhan another kick. Sun Shirhan did not dare to activate his Gu worm, he could only evade. But Fang Yuan changed his attack just in time, sweeping with his right fist and slamming into Sun Shirhan's nose. Sun Shirhan groaned. Just as he got up from the ground, he fell again. His entire face was full of blood, his nose bridge was broken and 2 of his front teeth fell out. He was in a pathetic state. But the Gu masters who came did not do anything, they breathed a sigh of relief secretly. Be it Fang Yuan or Sun Shirhan, they did not use their Gu worms. This was not breaking the rules, it was merely a small scuffle. When people interacted, there was bound to be conflict. As arguments occur, it was normal to get physical. As long as Gu worms were not used to fight, the poison vow would not be violated. Chang Shan-yin, you are too arrogant. Your wife and children are at the enemy's camp, I am only reminding you out of kindness, you actually got furious and beat me. You are definitely guilty. Sun Shirhan crawled up, shouting with his shrill voice. The words caused the surrounding Gu masters to talk among themselves. Chang tribe and Chang Shan-yin's relationship was known to all. These days, He tribe army had been talking about it. Seeing Sun Shirhan's smug and vicious gaze, Fang Yuan laughed in disdain. He did not say a thing, but instead, responded with his fist. Bam bam bam. Fang Yuan's attacks were full of strength. Although Sun Shirhan had some strength path foundation, how could it compare to Fang Yuan's immense investment in the strength path? After several moves, he was beaten on the floor again, lying there as he was punched and kicked. Wolf King is amazing, although he is an enslavement path master, his strength path foundation is very strong. Everyone was shocked. Great fight, I had wanted to thrash this scoundrel cunning gentleman long ago. Some of the army's higher-ups smirked. Chang Shan-yin, you think I am easy to bully. Sun Shirhan was thrashed until his body felt pain all over, his head was in a daze as his heart was filled with rage and humiliation. You still have the strength to speak. Fang Yuan snorted as he unleashed another round of punches. Sun Shirhan was beaten to a pulp, he vomited blood as his front teeth all fell off. Even the teeth at the back of his mouth were shaking. Wolf King is so ruthless. Sun Shirhan is a rank 4 expert after all, to think he was beaten defenseless, what a weakling. Stupid. He made a poison vow and could not use Gu worms. In terms of close combat, Wolf King is an enslavement path master, he would definitely be suppressed by Sun Shirhan. The discussions became louder, be it Chang Shan Yin or Sun Shirhan, they were people with great authority. Right now they were brawling it out, such a scene was rare, everyone was watching with bright eyes. Sun Shirhan heard the comments and felt humiliated, he almost gritted his teeth off. Although he barely had any left. He wanted to resist, but neither his strength nor moves were Fang Yuan's match, he could not take a thrashing. Endure, I must endure. If I use a Gu, I would truly lose. I need to wait for Alliance leader to come and uphold justice for me, Chang Shan Yin will get it. Sun Shirhan screamed in his heart. Alliance leader is here. Greetings to Lord Alliance leader. The surrounding people went into chaos as they quickly gave way. He Lulan, Hao Ji Lu and others came to the area. Seeing this, He Lulan frowned as he asked Fang Yuan coldly, what is going on? Sun Shirhan's body shuddered, using a mystical source of strength, he struggled as he crawled up and shouted, Alliance leader, please seek justice for me. Plop. Before he finished, Fang Yuan stepped on his head as he used great force, causing Sun Shirhan's entire face to sink into the soil. He Lulan shouted loudly, stop it. Wolf King, what are you doing? He is revolting. He is revolting. Sun Shirhan shouted loudly, his mouth was filled with soil as he spoke unclearly. Fang Yuan sneered, exerting strength and stepping 3 times, burying Sun Shirhan's voice in the soil. Sun Shirhan's nose and mouth were blocked, his head also suffered a great hit, he felt dizzy and suffocation, his limbs struggled wildly but he could do nothing against Fang Yuan's strength. He Lulan's face turned pitch black like charcoal. Fang Yuan's gaze was like a dagger, staring coldly at him and the Gu masters behind him. Can't you all see what I am doing? I am thrashing him. He Lulan stared at Fang Yuan angrily, shouting, Wolf King, give me a clear explanation, why did you beat him up? Are you really trying to rebel? Fang Yuan laughed in disdain, saying slowly, no need to be angry He tribe leader, if I wanted to rebel, why would I need to make such a din? Saying so, he let go of Sun Shirhan. Sun Shirhan lost the pressure and bounced up, desperately gasping for air like he was suffocating. But Fang Yuan stepped again, this time, on his right cheek. Sun Shirhan used both his hands to pull Fang Yuan's feet, but he was already weak and out of energy. Just like this, he was stepped on the face by someone in public, his reputation was ruined. Fang Yuan said slowly and casually, although I have not thought of rebelling, I do not want any schemes or plots to fall on my wife and children. During the battle, I will do my part and fight with my full strength. By then, if they die, that would be their honor to die on the battlefield. Since I, Wolf King, have joined the He army, I would not change my stance just because of relationships. However, saying so, he raised his head as he laughed arrogantly, it is your own business to be suspicious, that has nothing to do with me. All the mutated beast groups that I want are exchanged using my battle merit, this is a fair trade. I have never owed you anything. Hey tribe leader, if you are suspicious of me, you can take away the mutated beast wolf groups and not let me control them. In the future battle, I swear in the name of the Wolf King, I will still go all out. You. He Lulan was furious. Fang Yuan ignored his threat, and in fact, threatened him instead. Being suspicious is your problem, you can keep the mutated wolves to yourselves. If we lose the battle, that will be your responsibility. Can He Lulan not give them to him? He had the great strength true martial physique, even if he used Dark Limit Immortal Gu, he was starting to feel the inability to suppress it. He needed a strength path Immortal Gu to advance to Gu Immortal Realm. However, Wolf King created a din and made everyone know about this. If he did not give him the mutated beast group, what would the army think of him? They would think that He Lu Lan refused to utilize Wolf King despite him being here. Like the saying goes, a man being used cannot be suspected while a suspected man cannot be used. If he loses the battle, everyone would begrudge He Lu Lan. Good, you are amazing Wolf King. He Lu Lan's gaze was cold, he laughed out of anger. Of course I know the Wolf King's loyalty, but why did you beat up Sun Shirhan? He is your alliance mate, the enemy is before us, yet you engage in internal scuffle. What are you trying to do? He. Fang Yuan shrugged, this is my fault, because this Sun Shirhan looks way too ugly, he made my heart feel bad. Thus, I thrashed him and adjusted his appearance for him, as expected, he looks much better now. This was my personal action, I will take responsibility for it. According to the rules, I have to compensate Sun Shirhan 10,000 battle merits, no worries, I will compensate him. Sun Shirhan heard this and his anger rushed to his brain, he vomited out a mouthful of blood and fainted. The words made all the Gu master experts present unable to hold in their laughter. It was too satisfying. There were many who were unhappy with this scoundrel Sun Shirhan. Fang Yuan's assault was truly soothing their hearts. Even Tai Bai Yun Sheng's gaze towards Fang Yuan turned to admiration. He felt that although this Chang Shan Yin was ruthless, he did not strike at his family, but still maintained his righteousness and standpoint, he had his limits and was a true man. He Lu Lan's expression turned even darker. Sun Shirhan was his man, Fang Yuan beating him up in public was also slapping He Lu Lan's face. Fang Yuan said it easily, but his battle merits were still in the negative. But what could He Lu Lan do? To deal with Lu tribe army, he needed to rely on the Wolf King's strength. Threatening the Wolf King was to make him carry the sin of killing his own tribesmen, so that his reputation would be affected, allowing He Lu Lan to control him more easily. But since threats had no effect, He Lu Lan only had one option left, that was to comply.